Flight 305 maintained a holding pattern near Seattle, while local and federal authorities scrambled to procure the ransom as well as the 4 parachutes. 10,000 $20 bills were collected from a local bank, while the owner of a nearby skydiving school supplied the chutes. At 5:45 p.m., more than 2 hours past its scheduled arrival, Flight 305 finally touched down in Seattle. By this point, it was well after sunset, and the aircraft was brought to a remote section of the tarmac. Once the flight came to a stop, both the ransom and the parachutes were handed over to Mucklow, who then brought them back aboard. In exchange, Cooper permitted 2 of the flight attendants, as well as all the passengers, to disembark, many of whom had not yet realized the flight had been hijacked. With the ransom paid and only 4 crew members remaining on board, Cooper told Mucklow to inform the captain that he wanted to fly to Mexico City. They were to fly with the landing gear down, the flaps at 15 degrees, and below 10,000 feet. The lights in the cabin were to be switched off, and the stairway, which opens from the underbelly of the fuselage, Two of Cooper's demands could not be satisfied. First of all, the flight configuration he'd requested would not allow for a non-stop flight to Mexico City. As such, Cooper proposed a refueling stop in Phoenix, Yuma, or Sacramento before they all agreed on Reno, Nevada. Second of all, it was not possible to depart with the ventral staircase extended. Cooper agreed to retract the stairs on the condition that Mucklow remained by his side and taught him how to extend them once the plane was airborne. Nearly 2 complications with Flight 305 was back in the air by 7 Less than 5 minutes after takeoff, Cooper told Mucklow to head for the cockpit, and as he was the last time he saw Cooper, he was standing in the middle of the cockpit, preparing to descend. Mucklow joined the rest of the crew, locked the cockpit door, and some 3 hours later, Flight 305 safely landed in Reno. Once the flight came to a stop, the crew carefully ventured into the rear of the cabin, but there was no sign of Cooper or the bomb. The aft stairway had been extended mid-flight and was slightly damaged on landing. There was only one explanation for the hijacker's absence. Cooper had strapped on a parachute, walked down the stairs, and leaped into the dark of night.
Wow.
As soon as it became clear that Cooper was no longer employed, dozens of FBI agents converged upon the scene to discover a disappointing amount of physical evidence. 8 cigarette butts and 2 of the 4 parachutes were all that Cooper left behind. Evidently, he brought the ransom and briefcase along with him. In interviews conducted on the night of the hijacking, Cooper was described by the crew and passengers.
Look at it closely. See, like the red, it goes diagonal. It's so cool.
Black tie and dark shoes. Soon after boarding, he'd also donned a pair of sunglasses. Based on this description, the FBI produced the first of several composite sketches. Before they could mount a search, however, the FBI had to figure out when Cooper abandoned the ship. But that was easier said than done. None of the 4 crew members witnessed Cooper jumping from the plane, nor did the pilots of 2 fighter jets which escorted the flight between Seattle and Reno, which is not all too surprising given it was the middle of the night. Although the flight crew did report something odd, the last communication with the hijacker occurred at approximately 8:05 p.m. when the crew used the intercom to offer assistance, which Cooper declined. Within the next 10 minutes, the crew experienced what they described as an oscillation or vibration of the aircraft. At the time, the crew suspected it might have been produced by Cooper's jump, and a subsequent recreation of the hijacking supported that conclusion. Okay, so that took care of the when, but what about the where? While Cooper was very explicit about the flight's configuration and destination, he never specified any kind of route. In fact, Cooper grew so impatient with the slow refueling in Seattle that he dismissed the captain's request to find a flight plan and simply told him to, quote, get the show on the road. As such, the captain chose to fly along an airway known as Victor 23 without any input from Cooper. By using Victor 23 as a guide, authorities estimated the most probable location of the flight at the approximated time of the jump was about 40 kilometers north of Portland. And so, at the break of dawn, the FBI mounted operation using helicopters, airplanes, and ground troops. The problem was, even if the estimated bailout point was accurate, Cooper's eventual landing or drop zone was far more difficult to pinpoint. The loosely defined search area covered a vast stretch of mountainous wilderness occluded by a dense forest, so it was truly like finding a needle in a haystack. Apart from the difficult terrain, the search was further complicated by low temperatures and inclement weather, which persisted for days. Despite their best efforts, authorities never managed to find a single trace of Cooper, nor the items he brought along with him.
Look at us, lower decks, reaching protocol together. We're like the cool, scrappy underdogs. We're Starfleet, and when we make mistakes, we learn.
Having made little to no progress by early December, the FBI turned their attention to the $200,000 ransom. The money had been collected from the Seattle, which contained a ransom package of $250,000 just for such an occasion. Because the numbers of the $10,020 banknotes given to Cooper had been documented in advance, a complete list of which were quickly made available to financial institutions, government agencies, and the general public. The intention was to make it as difficult as possible for Cooper to spend his money. Northwest Airlines and several newspapers even began to offer rewards to anyone who could find a note with a matching serial number. In spite of these efforts, no one ever did. That is until nearly a decade later. In early 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram was building a campfire on a small beach in southern Washington. As he was digging into the sand, Ingram discovered 3 bundles of cash totaling $5,880. Having heard about the infamous skyjacking, Ingram's parents brought the severely degraded bundles to the FBI. The notes were promptly inspected, and sure enough, the serial numbers matched those of the ransom. Once the excitement
I love mysteries like this.
the money managed to raise far more questions than it answered, the most significant of which was how? How did the money end up so far away from the drop zone? Looking at this map, it might be tempting to think that Cooper simply dropped some of the money, which then fell into the Lewis River. The funnels could then be carried further downstream by the Columbia River before finally being washed ashore. Coincidence? Flat coincidence. The problem with this idea is that the Columbia River flows in the opposite direction. This has led some, including members of the FBI, to re-evaluate the initial drop zone assessment. For instance, if the drop zone was much further southeast, close to a river called the Washougal River, it is conceivable, albeit improbable, that the money floated all the way down to Tina Bar. Alternatively, the bundles may simply landed on the beach if the flight path was further to the west. Even so, natural explanations struggle to explain potentially free-falling and or free-floating bundles of cash ended up at the exact same place on the same beach. To complicate matters, sediment from the riverbed was excavated onto Tina Bar as part of a dredging operation. And according to one analysis, the money was discovered above this layer of sediment. If true, that would mean the money came to the
That's weird.
But a re-examination of that analysis found that what was believed to be a layer of deposited sediment might actually be a perfectly natural layer of clay. Not only that, but the sediment was clearly dumped some distance away from where the money was discovered. Furthermore, when Ingram discovered the bundles, the rubber bands which held them together were still intact. This is significant because experiments conducted in 2009 revealed that this brand of rubber bands could not withstand exposure to open air or water for more than a year. So unless the bundles were somehow protected from the elements, they must have become further in the bar within a year of the hijacking. The most probable explanation, therefore, seems to be that Cooper or someone else deliberately buried the money. Did Cooper survive and bury the money himself? Did someone else bury the money or somebody Cooper?
Bury.
If there is an explanation which does not Ingram's discovery in 1980, both Tina Bar and the grounds around the Washougal River have been subjected to numerous searches. No son of Cooper nor the rest of them. From the very beginning, it was assumed by many that Cooper did not survive his daring escape. It would not make for a very thrilling conclusion to this story, but that's the thing about stories. They're usually far more exciting than reality. While there is no hard evidence for nor against Cooper's survival, the assumption that he fell to his death is not without merit. When Cooper leaped into the darkness, Flight 305 was plowing through a frigid rainstorm at roughly 170 knots, 10,000 feet above southern Washington. The wind was so violent that it ripped out a placard from the aft stairway, which was later recovered in 1978 almost directly below the estimated flight path. To say that Cooper was not dressed for the occasion would be an understatement. The ground beneath them, meanwhile, was obscured by multiple layers of clouds, which likely means that Cooper jumped without knowing his precise location. Even if he could see the ground and had a specific drop zone in mind, the parachute he selected was non-steerable, meaning he would not have been able to steer his descent towards a specific landing spot, thus precluding any potential coordination with an accomplice stationed on the ground. While Cooper expressed some familiarity with parachutes, his actual competence level is up for debate. It's widely believed that Cooper demanded 2 pairs of parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, to make the authorities believe that he intended to take a hostage. That is precisely what happened as the FBI contemplated, but eventually decided against sabotaging the chutes as they did not want to risk the life of an innocent civilian. But in their haste to obtain them, they unintentionally provided Cooper with a non-functional dummy chute intended for training purposes. This mishap seems to have gone unnoticed by Cooper because that dummy chute was one of the 2 missing from the plane. Not only that, but Cooper chose the older and technically inferior parachute out of the 2 primary chutes provided. So in both cases, it seems like Cooper made the worst.
Okay, this dude has to have 1 million subscribers. Yep, 3.77 million. Because he has really good animation. Usually if they have animation this good, they have mil or more.
In fact, that is precisely what Cooper tried to do with a functional reserve chute. First, he tried to place the money in the chute's canopy before removing some of the suspension lines and wrap them around the back. Perhaps he used the dummy chute for a similar purpose. And Cooper's decision to use the older primary chute is not necessarily an indication of inexperience. It could also be a sign of familiarity because the chute he left behind was a civilian luxury chute, while the one he used was a military chute. The argument is that Cooper might have been trained as, say, a paratrooper, and chose the older military chute because that's the one with which he was most familiar. And there is at least one other reason to suspect that Cooper had a military background. While the flight was in a holding pattern near Seattle, Cooper mentioned that the McCord Air Force Base was only 20 minutes away from the Seattle-Tacoma Airport. At the time, that was an accurate assessment and might suggest a military background. Apart from the potential military connections, Cooper may even have had links to the Central Intelligence Agency. You see, the type of aircraft which Cooper chose to hijack, a Boeing 727, was also used by the CIA to covertly drop agents and supplies during the Vietnam War. A task for which the Boeing 727 was uniquely qualified due to its distinctive aft stairway. So it's fairly safe to assume that Cooper chose to hijack a Boeing 727 specifically because it provided a relatively safe means of escape. Whether he learned of this from the CIA or came to that conclusion independently is another question. However, the fact that Cooper chose to hijack a flight operated by Northwest Airlines was apparently random chance. When Tina Mucklow asked Cooper about his motives, he responded, "It's not because I have a grudge towards your airline, it's just because I have a grudge." He further clarified that Flight 305 just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Even so, it's clear that Cooper came prepared. He seemed to know a great deal about aircraft and aviation. He appeared to be familiar with the local terrain. He maintained a low profile to avoid a panic. He covered his eyes with a pair of glasses to conceal his identity. He left very little evidence behind, and he demanded 4 parachutes to force the assumption that he was taking a hostage. He was even kind enough to reclaim the note which he'd initially given Florence Shafter. Apart from the name he wrote on his plane ticket, there are no other samples of Cooper's handwriting. But for all his planning and cunning, it seems Cooper did not give enough thought to his eventual escape. Not only did he fail to specify a route, but he was forced to make a last-minute destination change from Mexico City to Reno. He could have demanded more appropriate parachuting equipment like a pair of boots, a helmet, or jumpsuit. He could even have specified the ransom to be delivered in larger denominations to make it lighter and less cumbersome to carry. Presuming he did survive the fall and made it safely to the ground, he may then have had to make his way through a dense, partially snow-covered forest in nothing but loafers and a trench coat in late November. I get the distinct impression that Cooper's escape was much more of a leap of faith than a carefully executed jump. On the other hand, authorities never received a missing person matching the description of Cooper in the wake of the hijacking. This might suggest that Cooper did survive, and that he swiftly and quietly resumed his normal routine. Furthermore, other hijackers have performed similar stunts, and many of them did survive, even if they were quickly apprehended. Finally, the simplest explanation for how 3 bundles of cash ended up in a bar is...
Hey.
At the end of the day, most of this escape was supposition. Without any concrete evidence of Cooper's demise, it leaves the door wide open to the far more exciting proposition that he did, in fact, survive. Imagine being a 90s gamer kid, and these are your options. A mouse with one button. Your dad's mouse. By the time the press got wind of the hijacking, the FBI had already begun to investigate a few potential suspects. Among them was a man in Portland with initials DB and surname Cooper. This Cooper was quickly eliminated as a suspect, but due to a mix-up by the press, the name Dan Cooper was confused for DB Cooper, and the rest is history. While Dan Cooper is most likely a pseudonym, there is a comic book series of the same name. The comic is written in French and centers around a Canadian pilot named Dan Cooper. While the comic was not translated into English nor sold in the United States before 1971, it was available in Canada, which has a large French-speaking population. Given that American and Canadian accents can be difficult to distinguish, it's possible that Cooper, who was described as having no discernible accent, was a bilingual Canadian. This might even be supported by something that Cooper might have said. You see, when the captain relayed Cooper's demands to air traffic control, he used the phrase negotiable American currency. It seems doubtful that an American citizen would specify American currency, so perhaps Cooper was not American. The problem is, we don't know if this is a direct quote from Cooper or paraphrasing by the captain. For instance, notes taken by the crew during the hijacking merely contain the phrase negotiable currency, while testimonies provided by the crew after the hijacking include phrases like $200,000 in cash and circulated US currency. So, Cooper might have been Canadian, and he might have taken his name from the Dan Cooper comics, just as he might have been American, and might have taken his name from something or someone else. Nearly half a century has gone by since the hijacking took place, and in that time, thousands of suspects have been questioned and investigated. It would obviously be impossible to cover all of them here, but let's take a look at some of the people that at some point or another have been suspected of being DB Cooper. Robert Rackstraw first became a suspect in 1978, and on the surface, he seems like a solid candidate. He was a decorated Army paratrooper and helicopter pilot. He had experience with explosives.
Who's this?
He had next
8. Oh, you mean hi. Hi. Wait, Amy Jones. Do I recognize you?
expelled from the Army only months.
Do I recognize you somewhere? I feel... Oh, I feel like you... Hi. I feel like you've been on my channel, not the first... I feel like this is not your first time on this channel. Nothing happened?
I am new.
Well, hi. This is the Abbott Agency, and I am a gaming slash vlogging channel. I wish to not go down the route of many other YouTubers, such as, well, clickbaiters and people who take advantage of other people. I wish to grow a foundation where everything can join and embark on a fun little channel.
Wow.
Wow. This is a reference to El Paso. El Paso is a small little tiny town in Illinois, central Illinois. I love El Paso because I pick up beautiful, beautiful, delicious Dairy Queen. I love Dairy Queen. And I live near the town of Bloomington, which has the largest Dairy Queen in the United States of America. Well, that's what I was told. I don't believe it. I think and that's a place where, you know, I got ketchup in my eyes, and trust me, you do not want ketchup in your eyes. I don't know how it got there, but it did. Hey, at least El Paso, Illinois is actually put near a highway. This is gonna be a grain tower yard. This is not exactly like the El Paso I know, but I just named it because, you know, it's a reference. Oh, by the way, you're new, right? You want to see an awesome thing? You see this? This is my city. First established in June the 30th, 2019. Finished June the 30th, 2020. So not too long ago. And yes, that means there is a 1-year gap between its construction. Yep, and because of this is the tip of the iceberg. I'm building a country, which means I'm starting to expand highways, small towns, roads everywhere. And yes, there's going to be a power factor. So you can turn the city's power on and off. If you actually search up Kincaid, Illinois, and like Kincaid Power Grid or Kincaid Power Station, this is the power lines you'll probably find. Yes, I know, it is an Easter egg. There's gonna be a nuclear power plant, like, right there. But, I'm gonna have to find a way to steer around. I think I'll build a power plant first. Because if you think about it, if I build the highway...
like you.
Why is that? Because I'm annoying or something? I don't know. Wonder why he doesn't like me.
He mean to me.
Oh. I'm probably... He's mean to you? Guess I'm probably smarter than him anyway. Learn your lesson when you store explosives, folks. Cause talk to God, dude, what was the name of that? Jordan Jordan Blue. God darn it, what was it called? Jordan. What's it called? I have to look it up. Can it not show white screen?
Do you like Fortnite?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Lebanon. Yes, there it is. Lebanon. A few weeks ago, you may not know this, but
Just asking.
in Lebanon, a giant explosion destroyed a warehouse. I'm talking, this is a kiloton worth of TNT, which is basically 1 out of 20th of the power of Hiroshima, which was a nuclear freaking bomb. 1/20th. There was 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate stored in these warehouses. Now, if you go there, it's a crater. The warehouses don't even exist. They're just gone. Well, there was a fire, and then a giant shockwave racked and
I love
destroyed.
Lego Ninjago.
I feel like Star Wars. Man, that dude is... The dude who created Lego has had some really troubling times, like his factory con fire. He was dealing with debt and all that stuff. It was kind of sad. But he got through it. Because he was strong. Okay, yeah, the house is... the town doesn't look the best. But in real life, it doesn't look the best either. Yeah, so of course, this is power lines. It splits into here. It goes into these, these. I'm sorry if I say these, I'm not, on another language. It's because my brain can't decide if I'm going to say this or these. So I accidentally mix it up into these. So, the power line splits. One goes to this little substation, which will power the town. One goes to this other suburbs of my thing called, probably TA City. And as you know, if anybody doesn't know, the M stands for movies. This is Richmond. It's where all the rich people live. I was gonna say rich man, but I didn't want to imply a sexist implication, so I switch it from rich man to rich mun. And it actually kind of sounds fancier too. And over here, that's TA City's logo. And behind here, there's a radio tower which broadcasts your daily radio.
I am 8.
I am 15. Oh wow, look at that. You know what? Thanks for joining my channel, because you know what? Because of that, I toured. And because I toured, look what I just found. Exposed wire. Yeah, good thing you could see that, because now you know that almost every part of my city is actually powered. I think the only buildings that don't fall under this rule is, the only buildings that don't fall under this rule are, that building right here, the giant, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And that one. This is my house. It's a modern looking house. I think it looks good. Oh, by the way, you wanna know what happened here? Every single bit of the west side of my town got deleted. And you know what? I rebuilt it from brick.
How long is your stream?
An hour. Don't mind if I stand up. Hope you don't mind me. It kind of gets tired sitting. Oh, by the way, this looks like a normal bunker or normal mountain, right? Wrong. It's actually a giant underground bunker. Yup, and it opens and closes. I nearly escaped the door. This is TAA nuclear bunker. I want to show it to you, but I don't want to because, you know, it'd take like an hour. But there, underneath this complex, there's a giant bunker outlined with obsidian. The interior kind of explodes, but in thought, actually, you can't probably resist damage. This is the highway. This is the first bits of the highway. It's gonna circle all the way around the country. That way you can get anywhere, anytime. Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom.
I am going to make
It won't be
Fortnite
long.
in Minecraft.
I have returned. Yes, I have returned. This door, the spring pressure is too high. The house is
I
like
am going to make
17,
Fortnite
19
in
years old.
Minecraft.
Like, bro, if a window is Fortnite in Minecraft. Well, good luck, dude. I hope you succeed. Because you know what? You can do it. Hey, bro, listen. I'm autistic, and if I can do something, you can do it. Never let anything put you
Thanks.
down. Don't let anybody say no one cares. Don't listen to them. I have been slashed with hate my entire life. I remember when I went to a camp and I got punished just for talking. I want to expose him. I hate District 5 in Bloomington, Illinois, and I hate PETA. Oh, PETA works for animals. They're gonna save them. No, they don't. They have veterinary clinics. They have vet clinics with up to 90% kill rates of their animals. Yep, they kill 9 out of 10. If they put an animal in there, they're gonna kill them because they're sick. And they made women strip down in public just to show them a point. And as if it could get any worse, they said that dairy products increase your chances of getting autism. It's not a disease, by the way. It's called a brain condition. It's like Down syndrome. You're either gonna get it or you're not gonna get it. It's called, I guess it's called, you know, freaking life. So deal with it. It's like, bruh, PETA, their facts, they're just wrong. They are fake. They have false information and they can't back it up. They are selfish. I hate PETA. They have provided people with false information. I do not support them. Indeed, I rival them. And I also have an ego against frickin' District 5. As I said before in previous streams, they have wronged me numerous times without any fairness at all. They are rude. I've seen them be rude to autistic children. Like children that can't even process their own thoughts. Just get abused by people who can. I saw them unfairly get treated. Like, bro, like, I'm like, because as I think about how they got treated, I get reminded of a concentration camp. No joke, no scam. I wanted to go back there so I can catch them on video, so I can pretend to be stupid, and I can catch them on video wronging people. But they're not accepting people outside the thing. Maybe one day when I grow my YouTube channel, I will find a way to expose them. Because I believe that they should be brought to attention. Heck, District 5, they've ruined so many people's, not lives, they didn't ruin people's lives, but they just screw up people so freaking hard. One of my friends, I'm not going to name him, but he told me that he's gotten almost stabbed and shot and bullcrap, and the school does nothing about it. Nothing. They sit there on their freaking lazy backs doing nothing. Their judgment system is incorrect, and they falsely accuse people of things that they can't be accused of. And plus there's lots of bullies there. Trust me, if I were in District 5, I'd be a different person. Either a rude person who harasses everybody in sight, or I'd be overcome with depression and things like that, and sadness and thoughts of taking my life. But I didn't go to District 5, and I feel much better because they support people with Down syndrome and people who can't even process thoughts, or they can't even talk and speak. They are kind and respectful with those types of people. I mean, I know people don't want to pay for money, but instead, I went to Noodles and Company. Instead of giving me Pepsi, they just gave me old boring water for free. Bruh. I know, like, bruh, like, I can't, like, sometimes be nice. You could have just bought a Pepsi. God, I've seen everybody be mean to people with disabilities. I've even seen people that have said, oh, get your child out there, go donate his body
Hey,
parts
Rayce.
to science. Oh, hey. Like, what is up with my species? I have lost faith in humanity because it's like, bruh, I've seen people online said euthanize the German Shepherd from freaking Paw Patrol. And you know what? I'm like, you know what? Why don't you go euthanize yourself? Because the only problem in society is you. You keep freaking up everyone, and why do people hate the cops? What did they ever do? That was one police officer that killed that black man. And I'm not saying it was a rightful thing to do. I'm saying that people are wrong because they're choosing to represent. They're choosing to think that one example represents the others. Like, for example, if you have a barrel full of apples, just because you pick out one blindly, if I put a blindfold on, I pick out blindly, and I'm saying, oh, one of these apples is rotten. The others are going to be
Can you
rotten.
invite me?
I will. No. Actually, I could just join you. Private, make it private, make it private, make it private, make it private. Yeah, you heard. I'm sorry, Amy, I can't. Here's the thing. People think that they can choose, that it's right to choose one example from thousands and millions of others and say, this example represents the others. Like saying, hey, like I hate the wrongful people, the stereotypical people that say, hey, guess what? I don't know, freaking God, I can't say anything without causing someone to be like, oh, he actually said that, but like, for example, if I put my hand in a barrel of apples with a blindfold on, I pull an apple out, and I look at it, and take the blindfold off, and I say, ooh, this one's rotten. The other ones are going to be rotten. I don't know that. That is a guess. That is an
I
estimation.
am back.
That's an estimation, and it's also called stereotyping. Not all cops are bad, because some of them are bad. Yes. Not all of them, though. Some of them are really good, lighthearted people. And guess what? Sometimes, maybe if you just comply with the police, they will do nothing. Nothing.
This is so stupid.
What?
Scrubby.
Let's play Raid Shadow Legends.
No!
Something for free, I'd rather do that any time than shell out $1.
Wait, no.
My family and I are so cheap that we all share one tub of water a day. We don't
Oh, God.
dirty. It just makes sense to use the same water.
It is family that shares bathwater.
I do not want to share bathwater with my family. I don't want to share my bathwater with anyone. In fact, the other day, Benji hopped in the Discord call with some, hey, Scrubby, bro, want to share some bathwater? And I kicked him right out. I unfriended him on the spot. Not to mention, you claim your family's not dirty, but let's be realistic here. This bathwater looks like Shrek's swamp after he hopped out of it. No, thank you. How dirty are you guys after a day that your bathwater is so brown it looks...
Hey, you wanna know why, don't throw your baby out with the bathwater exists? It's because back then, I think in England, the babies, and the youngest, it'd go, the oldest take the bath first, usually the men sometimes, and the youngest take the bath the last. And they say that, you know, the babies took the bath the last, so that's where they came out with, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because some people have actually done that.
It worked out pretty well. We saved some serious coin. I found this family on TLC that actually carries the title of the world.
There are members of my own species that wrongfully shame cops, or racism, are racists, and unbelievably eat mattresses. Like, what is my species? Like, if you think about it, we shouldn't judge species like, oh, starfish eject their stomachs to eat things when when we dress in suits to represent animals wrongfully, furries. There was literally a party I heard about furriest. Like, there were some people, like, somebody wasn't... Crossplay? Like, I heard there were people that accidentally got recorded without underwear. There's people getting high on mushrooms. Gunner?
Yeah.
And there are people getting high on mushrooms. Somebody unscrewed a toilet valve. That way when it flushed, it would just destroy the bathroom with 2-inch high water. People were taking dumps in the pools. And all that crap. It was great.
Also, it can't be sanitary to wash yourself with all the dirty water from your mom and your dad and your brother. Not to mention when somebody pees in the tub, now the whole system's ruined. It's a trust system I don't
You know what? Here's a way. I spit rot in my mouth, in my throat. You want to know a good way to actually clean yourself effectively? Use a shower. Do like a 5-minute shower, and there you go. Uses less water, and everybody can get cleaned without getting contaminated with each other. Because when you feel the water gets warmer when the water raises 10 degrees right next to your brother, he just took a freaking wank inside the pool. He took a pee-pee. I just realized on my stream, like, of Moxie's Handsome Quest, there's these bots, like there's this robot, and he, like, ejected robots from his groin, and it said PP loaders. 100 gallons a day! People struggle on this planet without excellent drinking water, and you're wasting it.
This little piggy stayed home and was still dirty. You're not even doing a good job with your water. Also, the water's dirty too. You're not solving any problems here, lady. I love when people claim that something else is stupid while they're doing something dumber. Like, I don't ever use my brakes. You know how fast brakes wear out? How stupid is that? While dragging their feet under the car like a Flintstones vitamin? That's how dumb this sounds.
But of course, the Flintstones was actually a good show until they took it off.
This is enough shampoo for a month in your family? Your guys' hair has to be the greasiest thing since Whataburger, okay? I mean, honestly, do you guys rub the grease in your hair? How in the world is
Don't you have a Whataburger?
I also feel really bad.
What the hell's Whataburger?
I don't know. It sounded funny though.
For a month with this weird family. It really shows you that stars can lose their power, man. By rationing your family's use of soap and shampoo, Melody manages to keep bottles for over 6 months. In fact,
I already found it.
I literally fall into a crippling depression and want to stab myself if I had to share my bath water.
All of their household supplies. Using the same bottle of shampoo for 6 months is not a flex. It's just weird and kind of gross.
Hey, is it normal? Wait, 1 second, actually. I have a question to ask for you.
What?
Let me put on show my coordinates. Is it normal to find gold in the middle coordinate at 54? Is it normal to find gold there?
Gold spawns all the way down at 30 and 20.
I found it at 54.
You're in a mesa biome, if I had to guess. Lunch quiet. I heard a beep.
They don't even flush it. They keep it in a trash bag. Do you know how bad their bathroom has to smell? All the used toilet paper for the last month in your house collected in a little plastic bag? It probably smells like Cyrus's hairline, or Kevin Federline, or Britney Spears in 2007. If my parents ever came to me with some, you're gonna wipe with newspaper and throw it in the baggie, I'd be out. I'm moving to Canada. Peace out. They have rights in Canada, and toilet paper. And you think I only came with one cheapskate for today's video? That's where you're wrong. There was another girl that recycles food, like from trash cans, and then feeds it to people without telling them. And I just feel like that's a massive breach of trust, alright? If I'm your friend and you end up feeding me garbage grilled cheese, we're gonna have a problem here. And I just had to show it to you guys, so that's what we're gonna look at now. Stephanie
has countless money-saving tactics. By using just one light bulb that she moves from room to room, she saves more than $60 a month on her electric bill.
She just takes the light bulb from room to room. It's like if Benjamin Franklin wrote the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but with light bulbs. Isn't it just easier to just turn the light off when you leave? I don't know why you only need one light bulb to do this. I also love how they're acting like it's the most innovative thing ever. Like, yeah, you might have to travel with your light bulb everywhere, but you do save $60. So, I mean, who's really the loser here? Definitely the person carrying around their light bulb like it's a baby.
This is our reusable boiling water. Yes, I know it may be a little chunky, but it saves me from spending more money on my water bill.
What did you just say about your water?
Yes, I know it may be a little chunky, but it's...
I'm sorry, but if you ever find yourself describing your water as chunky, you definitely have found yourself way too cheap. I mean, you can refill your boiling water once every, 3 weeks. Come on! Your water shouldn't look like a can of Campbell's Chunky Noodle Soup.
Save on your auto policy, but it's even nicer knowing that if this happened, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. We're going to quote today. We are farmers.
St. Patrick, you're under arrest for the murder of James St. Patrick. Hurry! Listen to me! Go to school! If you like. Your Honor, James St. Patrick is a monster of untold proportion. And you, Father, he was a complicated man.
Well, we need to get you a lawyer.
What I need is for you to concentrate on school.
Amos McLean.
Whoa! Chloe! What is that? Oh, look! Kids leave toys all the time. If they're unclaimed, why not pick them up and take it home with you? Because they're free.
I'm pretty sure picking up toys off the ground and giving them to your small child is exactly how gonorrhea gets spread. Then again, I don't go outside much, so I can't really verify if that's a fact, but I feel like maybe picking broken toys up off the ground in the park to give to your toddler definitely isn't the cleanest idea. At a certain point, being cheap isn't worth it if you're gonna give your kid the Black Plague. How do you know a squirrel hadn't, died inside of this little monster truck? Oh, it's okay, honey. Yeah, I understand that you wanted a Barbie doll, but a dead cat is basically the same thing. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, no thanks. I'm not signing up for any of this. The second my mom gives me a broken toy she found in the dumpster, I'm moving out. I'm out of here. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day, because I know I am. We've had a lot of fun on this channel making fun of cheapskates. Today I found this video of this woman named Apple, which I mean is weird enough. Who names their kid Apple? Like, you carried a kid for 9 months, went through the pain of labor to pop it out, look at it, and say, I'm gonna name you after a fruit. That's besides the point. It's the cheapest mother that I've literally ever seen. Like, I've seen some cheapskates, but this lady is out of control. Regardless, we're gonna take a look at it and have ourselves a good time making fun of it. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, your mom will make you eat squirrel for dinner.
It's perfectly fine. We just wash it off and it's clean.
Missing 2 wheels.
You can still play with it, Vic.
I love how she sasses her husband for just saying something that makes perfect sense. Hey, honey, I don't know if we should really take that toy. It is missing 2 wheels, which means it doesn't work.
Listen here, Vic, okay? That's it. You say one more thing coming out of your mouth, I'm divorcing you and taking the kids. This is not a joke. I will do it.
Like, damn, man, Vic was really just trying to point out that the toy wasn't working, and you had to sass him like that? Vic, it's gonna be okay, bro. You can always hit up Tinder if you need any help. She thinks that he's the stupid one for not wanting to let his daughter play with dead squirrel trucks. But the name is literally Dead Squirrel Trucks, okay? Nobody should want to play. Is it working or not?
Just an app. It's called Signal for Farmers, and it can save you up to 15% on your auto insurance. Simply sign up, drive, and save. We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
What do they have on Fortnite now? What is this?
Play with that, unless you're really
No,
weird.
like
Did anybody else have the one kid that went to their school that played with dead squirrels, or was
Yeah,
that just
God.
me?
When we first had Chloe, I noticed her being more frugal than she normally was.
Oh God, no!
So now I collect breast milk from my friends.
I hate these
Hold on.
nails.
You do what? You collect breast milk from your friends, bro? I didn't realize that breast milk was Pokemon cards where you had to try to collect it all. How do you even bring that up in conversation? Hey, yo, Emily, listen, I know we've been chilling at yoga, and I super appreciate your downward dog and saluting the sun. It's pretty gnarly. However, I have a question. I know you lactate from your breast. Can I have it? Is that cool with you? Like, I'm sorry, but if I'm ever sitting there and somebody asks my wife for her breast milk, they are 100% catching the fade. No apologies given. Hey, yo, girl, let me grab that breast milk, girl. Please, girl. Can I please have some breast milk, girl?
Amy is from my yoga class.
I'm tired of these stupid nails.
Jessica is actually one of my coworkers. Chloe prefers Jessica's milk over anyone else's breast
Hello.
milk. I mean, this is her fave. She'll drink the others, but this is more her
Anything
preference.
that's pointy.
I'm just imagining this baby really chilling at the restaurant. She's like, do you have Abby's breast milk? And they're like,
hazard waiting to
sorry,
happen.
no, we don't. Is Jessica's okay? Like, bruh, breast milk doesn't have Coke and Pepsi flavors. I don't know what you mean. Oh, yeah, this milk is her favorite. Everybody else's milk is garbage. Is that even a compliment? Did you tell Jessica this? Like, you walked into the office, hey, Jessica, just wanted to let you know your breast milk is pretty tasty. Both my husband and my daughter really loved it. So, big thanks. Flavoring in there? Like, how do you just get it so tasty? These are conversations that this lady has probably actually had. Because if you're willing to ask people for breast milk, you're probably down to talk about it too. Yo, Jessica, if you're watching this and you want to give me a sponsorship, let me know. I'll review your breast milk live on a video.
Free breast milk saves Apple over $1,000 a year off the cost of fortified toddler milk.
Having a baby made me more obsessed with saving money.
You're telling me you actually had to look people in the eye and ask for their breast milk for $1,000? Like, I'm sorry, but that's not very worth it to me. Yeah, I saved $1,000 a year by making everyone in my work uncomfortable by borrowing people's breast milk. I also love how they say borrow breast milk. Like, what, you're just gonna return that after? Like, oh yeah, by borrowing breast milk. Nah, dog.
Let's play Raid Shadow Legends. Start now for free.
Borrowing implies you're gonna give it back, and trust me, nobody wants their breast milk back after their baby has already consumed it. She starts coming to work with loaded diapers. Oh, by the way, Jessica, big shout out to you for letting me borrow your breast milk. Here it is. I'm gonna start saying that from now on. Hey, yo, bro, can I borrow a bite of those mozzarella sticks? I promise I'll give it back. Like, nobody wants that back in the first place. Seriously, though, I don't think having a baby would make me cheaper. I just feel like it would make me more stressed. Yeah, you know, once I became responsible for an entire person and realized that everything I do and say is going to shape how a human being interacts with the rest of the world, I don't think that would make me save money. I think that would make me have a panic attack. Like, bruh, are you kidding me? My kid has to grow up with me as a dad? Yeah, you know, honey, you wanna know how we got this house? I used to just talk a lot of crap on the internet. My kid would be terrible. I ain't trying to have that type of responsibility yet. Seriously, though, if anyone wants to borrow some breast milk, let me know. All you have to do is give it back. I'm willing to let you guys borrow it for a bit, but, like, you can't keep it.
People buy baby wipes, moist towelettes. Instead, I like to make them at home. Okay.
You come home to this in your kitchen, what you doing? If the explanation isn't that they're trying to run like their own Breaking Bad simulation, then I'm gonna be disappointed, alright? Like, I would much rather my wife be like, listen, I watched the show Breaking Bad, so I got everything that we need to make our own business. But if you just start cutting, like, I don't know, giant rolls of towels in half to make our own wet wipes, I'm gonna be impressed, alright? Wet wipes are like 37 cents for a box of 1,000. Yeah, you know that 37 cents adds up. If we go through one box a month, that's up to $4 a year. Do you think $4 grows on trees, Ryan, huh?
There you go. You have moist towelettes. I use this to wipe my hands with it, and or wipe the tables, like my kitchen table, my kitchen counter.
This is totally reusable still, so I use the wipe to wipe her bum with.
Hold up. After using the wet wipes that you just made by cutting paper towels in half, all ready to clean your table and clean like mustard and ranch and gross stuff off your table, you use it to clean your kid too? Oh, sweetie, don't even worry about it. Yes, I used this wet wipe to clean up your puke earlier, but now we're just gonna use it to wipe down your face, alright? Don't even sweat it, okay? It's not that big of a deal. This baby can't defend itself. It's getting clean with stuff that's already dirty. That's not getting clean. That's like, I don't know, eating a bar of soap, digesting it, pooping it out, and then using it to clean yourself. Like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. Hey, but the towels are getting reused. Experience extreme.
Oh my gosh, every second.
Another 37-cent save.
Apple homemade wipes saves her 50 for 6 diaper changes.
A changing table is expensive things that a new mom has to buy.
Bruh, a changing table is too expensive? Are you guys seeing this? This chick could literally go to jail for robbing a 7-Eleven, but not for money or like a bunch of Slurpees. Nah, she wants
I'm back.
Give me the changing table.
You should see my mansion I'm building in Minecraft. Not in real life.
Okay,
I'd
you wanna know
probably earn
what's
like $1 million.
you wanna know what's really stupid?
What?
Is that in middle school we had to like buy clothes and change into them. So you wanna know what? Like we were expected to arrive on time, and I had to walk across the building, change into new clothes, and then there you go. I don't know why we had to change the new clothes. It was really stupid. We were concealed in a building. No one was gonna even see. Unless we had to pay $120 on average to get new shoes. That's ridiculous, isn't it? $120 for shoes you're only gonna wear for a half a year. That no one, barely anyone will ever see.
People use changing tables all the time, so why not use this one?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, tons of people have used this, but there's also certain things that people use that you shouldn't reuse. This lady's the type of lady to like take chewed gum out of your mouth and be like, yeah, plenty of people chew gum, so by reusing it, I can save up to 3 cents per chew. Like, there's just certain things you shouldn't reuse.
Wag one.
Yeah, you know, me and my husband. A ton of money by just reusing every
3 cents per chew.
ever used, you know? The other day I saw a guy taco and I went to eat it. He said, no, I have herpes, but I ate it anyway because that was like $2 worth of taco meat.
She's also found a way to save $450 on diapers themselves.
Why not use t-shirts to make reusable cloth diapers?
Shroom life hack, you know? Guys, save money on diapers by reusing t-shirts, and then after the kid has pooped on one side, you just flip them inside out and do it again. Sure, you're gonna get poop all over your hand, but think about how much money you'll save by not the time that they use it. I feel like Vic, her husband, doesn't even know that she's braiding his t-shirts. He's like, oh my gosh, where did that t-shirt go? My grandfather gave it to me right before he passed away. Oh
His
yeah, honey, your
grandfather.
daughter just pissed all over it. I had to throw it out, actually. One of the nastiest diaper changes I've ever seen in my entire life. Think about how many t-shirts have been destroyed by that ghetto changing table they got just chilling on the wall with duct tape. Oh no, the diaper on the duct tape.
Cut the sleeves off and fold the flaps. There you go.
This is honestly the type of mom where her kid would be like, hey yo mom, can we go to the dollar store? And she'd be like, what do you think this is? We ain't going to the Gucci store? Like, do you think this is a joke or something? I just can't believe that somebody this cheap out there exists. But hey, I guess that's what happens. Anyways, guys, there's gonna be a playlist at the top
Man
of the
will chef
description
you
that
up blood.
This is another troll. I see.
Trying awful.
We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here. Let one of the kids out of my basement to be in a video today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the channel 5 Minute Crafts, which is like the super villain of this channel, you know? I don't know why I have beef with them, but I do. If you're watching
And also PETA, which is the super villain of this channel.
Today, me and my friend Bumpkin here, who you guys should check checkout, we're going to be looking at 42 Holy Grail.
Oh,
life
72
hacks.
more
Oh
subs.
god.
You know, times are tough as
He said he wants to have a.
like, times are hard.
Oh, that reminds me of a video that Jake Paul did. One of my friends made me watch Jake Paul for a
Man ain't
challenge.
troll watch when
I'm sorry, but you're annoying. You know, I feel like not troll. Huh? You might feel like not troll.
Hacks that will save me a fortune! And then the first thing you do is, like, erase permanent marker. I didn't realize that that was an economic drain on most of America. Like, are people going broke because of permanent marker? See, you could take used plastic furniture and repurpose it and paint it, or you could throw it away because it's garbage. Yeah, no. I walk into your house and you have used plastic furniture painted on your wall. I'm leaving. No, I would think that you're a hoarder. That's not normal behavior for like a normal person. Okay, alright, so you take a bunch of plastic silverware and then you place it in a circle and glue it.
Mandem say you're an op so you
I'm putting you in timeout.
What is this?
I pay at least $300,000.
That's one of those clocks from school too. That just like doesn't move. 5 minutes passes, but like, or 3 hours passes, but only 5 minutes on the clock moves. Also, like, why? Like, yes, in theory, you could glue plastic silverware to a clock, but it doesn't even look good. I would be like, why did you do that? I'm not thinking that's
Just take a whole bunch of sporks from McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and just stick them right on there.
We're gonna cut to like us doing cool crafts. So as you can see, we've got in our art supplies.
That's all you gotta do. That's nothing hard.
Our plastic silverware.
Literally, all you gotta do. And maybe if you're hungry or not, just steal the whole cabinet filled to the brim with
Just break into the back stock room of like freaking Culver's and then steal all their sporks. Wait, does Culver's even have sporks?
I've seen people in Chick-fil-A, they just take 2 handfuls of their mints and just stuff them in their pockets like they don't even know.
They're probably just gonna redistribute them on eBay. Redistribute them on eBay, lol.
Probably gonna sell them for like $1 million on the dark web.
There aren't people just freaking trolling me or something.
From Chick-fil-A.
It's annoying because people will just like say stupid garbled up crap, be like blah 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 blah, and it's annoying as hell, and nobody will ever shut up, and it's rude, and it's annoying. I tell people to stop, and they won't stop, so I put you in timeout. And if you do it again, you're gonna get freaking muted from the channel. I don't care at all, but these are my rules, and if you fail to abide by them, I will do whatever I please.
Oh.
I don't think I'm gonna ban people anymore. First try, I'm actually just gonna let them, you know. I'm gonna time out them, I'm gonna see if, you know, they redeem themselves. Then when they redeem themselves, if they do, then I'll let them talk. If they don't, they're gonna get hidden.
I just gotta open up my window. Ow! I need crab.
Yeah, they kind of bullshitted on the 5-minute part, maybe just a little bit. I have no idea. Probably should come back first.
Huh?
You know, whatever. Sometimes with the crabs, you just gotta jump in the deep end and not think too hard about it. Yeah, that's what it is.
The most rarest item in the game is sticks. Pussy.
They can hear you. You do know that, right?
No.
Utter silence.
I don't know. Walk
I am back.
Actually, a really smart way to say I am back.
Glue gun. I'm going to use it to glue you to the ceiling while I kidnap your
AutoZone, batteries are kind of our thing. After our free testing, turns out she just needed new cables. This guy.
I will figure it out. Assistant, you're an idiot. I figured it out immediately. You are useless to me. We have to let this dry, don't we?
Yeah. Pretty sure he left.
Back to reacting to the rest of the crafts. So while we're waiting for the paint to dry, we're gonna react to some more
Do we
crafts.
now
That's
create
what we
craft?
do in these videos.
Creek Craft. I've never heard of it.
That's not a life hack. You just stabbed a can with a spoon. Straight murder. Look at how jagged that edge is, dude. That looks like you're gonna give yourself tetanus trying to cut open this can. If
A
I was a
YouTuber.
can, I would be like afraid.
I have no idea who Creek Craft is.
Like, yo, pull up to my kitchen, I'm gonna disembowel you with a spoon! Yo, you see that?
Chunky noodles.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what goes down. How does this save me a fortune? Like, that's what I don't understand. Yeah, okay, if I stab cans with a spoon, it's gonna save me money. How? You don't buy a can opener? How much is a can opener? Maybe. That's way overheated. You think a can opener is $12?
That's more like 5 if you want to go to the dollar store and buy one. You think the store would be right about its name, but really, have you seen the prices?
Of what?
They're so
Dollar
in the
General?
Dollar General.
If you're going on the prices right, look out. You will
Well, but it doesn't specifically state that everything's gonna be $1.
You're just ruining your fork. What does this even do? What? Could you imagine, like, walking into your kitchen and your kid is just mangling all your forks with pliers, just like, Slaughter, it's a day off. Dude, 5-minute crafts, they know. We just know. I think it's about time for everyone's favorite.
I'm sorry, dude.
Pumpkin and Ryan.
I'm just breaking your stuff that was like $50. I'm just breaking all that stuff.
Breaking all that stuff,
I know
bro.
you just got a new house. I know you just got a new house. It was like $2 million. So I'm gonna take this big old crane and just destroy it. Yeah.
I'm gonna take the biggest, bloodiest dump in the entire friggin' world.
On your truck.
That doesn't give a...
Oh, Mullet Man is back. Yeah. Remember how Scrubby used to have that long hair?
No.
Well, guess what? Mullet Man is back. Oh boy. What is this?
Hey Google, what is the highest mountain?
Mount Everest at 8,848
Mount Everest, I
meters.
think. Now you have another problem. Your entire face smells like garlic. So now it's like I have a bad Olive Garden. That's not a bad.
A bad Olive Garden. A bad Olive Garden.
I know that it's been a little while since I wrote you. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back in with another video.
I need an iron door, son. An iron door. An iron door is what I need. Boy. I need that iron door. Boy. I need that iron door. It sounded like you saying anal, so I was about to type anal in my search bar.
Oh my god. Here's what I was saying in reality. Listen. It's on Borderlands 3.
How do you spell dispenser?
Why do you even say watch a short video for 30 minutes on the listening? Just play the video. I don't want this axe product. Ten more seconds of wasting my time.
That entire segment. I've got a girl with a pimple that looks like an open sore, like she's about to be patient zero in a zombie movie. This girl with half a dead cat in her brush, and then out of nowhere, she peeled the entire skin off of the strawberry and don't like seeds. I thought it was supposed to be there wasn't even life hacks in the first two. It was just a girl about to cry, another girl about to cry, and then fruit. Why are we talking about fruit?
Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot is one of the best DLCs I've ever played. So is Just Cause 3's Land DLC. And Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot. There's like this old floating casino out in the middle of space, and you go take it over, and there's a bunch of bandits, and they're all led by like a ugly person called Pretty Boy, ironically. Wait, where'd this cat come from? Aw, see.
It totally won't make you it hurt even more.
Sasada, an internet mystery.
On the 4th of January 2012, a user on 4chan posted this image to the site's infamous B or random board. The anonymous author, who went by the 4-digit pseudonym 3301, challenged users to uncover a message hidden within the image. Unbeknownst to those who stumbled across it, someone had just set in motion one of the most elaborate scavenger hunts the internet has ever seen.
Tomorrow project, orders latest 10 p.m. Thought I'd be watching somebody rub something like this on their arm.
Within minutes of the image being posted, someone discovered that by opening the file using a text editor, an appended string of readable text could be found. The string contained a cipher that, once deciphered, formed a link to yet another image. At first, this appeared to be a dead end, but using an application known as outguess, users were able to extract hidden information embedded within the first image. The extracted information led to a subreddit, which in turn
Why
contained
onion?
information
Why
about the
garlic?
book.
Why
The
rub
book,
smelly
along
things
with a
on
code, could then be used to uncover a phone number that, when called, played this pre-recorded message.
Very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final.jpg image. 3 through 0 is 1. You will have to find the other 2. Multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com on the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
None of these are beauty. None of these. You might look better, but it's
By
not
the
better.
following day, the initial image
You're literally eating the grass, you idiot.
over the internet.
I don't even want to.
Look how much you just destroyed.
A growing community of armchair detectives sought to unravel this elaborate puzzle, but no one was quite sure what to make of it. What was the puzzle for? Who was behind it? What happens when you reach the end? Some naturally dismissed it as an elaborate joke, while others perceived its complexity as evidence against it being the work of a mere troll. Before long, rumors began to circulate that this was the work of some secret society or intelligence agency with the intent of recruiting individuals proficient in cryptography, cryptography, and other related fields. Of course, it was nothing but a rumor. The 2 missing numbers mentioned in the recording proved to be the dimensions of the original image. After multiplying the width and height with 3301 and using the product as a web address, users were taken to a website. The website consisted of a countdown as well as an image of a cicada. When the countdown reached 0, the page was updated with a list of coordinates. The coordinates pointed to locations around the globe, 14 locations in 5 different countries. It was now up to participants living near the specified coordinates to rise from their comfortable armchairs and venture outside.
Looks safe to me.
Those who believed cicada to be the work of an organization now felt their beliefs had been justified. In their opinion, only some international collective possessed the means and resources to create a scavenger hunt of this magnitude. This was not the work of your average troll. No, this had to be something else. At each location was a poster with a cicada symbol and a QR code.
We are so close to 40 million subscribers. If you could hit that right there, it would mean the world to me because I have something very big planned. And one of you might get something really, really crazy. All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button.
The image contained a riddle, the riddle led to a book, and the book led to a website. But here, the puzzle took an unexpected turn. Only a select group of first arrivals to this website were accepted into the final stage of the puzzle. The site eventually closed down with the message, "We want the best,
but I will give it to someone
The finalists were also warned not to collaborate with others nor to share the details of this private stage of the puzzle. Well, given that we know this, it's safe to say that not everyone heeded that warning. Those who did presumably advanced through the final stages before reaching the very end.
Okay, you might be turning your thing down. This is cool, I like this.
After nearly a month of silence, an image appeared on the subreddit announcing the conclusion of the puzzle, and just like that, the hunt was over. Cicada had supposedly found the highly intelligent individuals they were looking for, and whatever happened to them is a bit of a mystery, but more on that in a moment. The complete lack of an explanation was perceived by many as confirmation that the puzzle had been nothing but a wild goose chase intent on wasting everyone's time. After all, questions raised by the original image remained unanswered. What was the puzzle for? Who was behind it? What happens when you reach the end? However, as it later turned out, this was only the beginning. Whoever was behind this intricate game had the foresight to include an authentication code known as a PGP signature along with every clue. This allowed users to verify that an image or message was actually from Cicada, as opposed to some imposter seeking to derail or hijack the puzzle. Cicada had repeatedly warned of such false paths and insisted that any message lacking a valid PGP signature should promptly be disregarded. That's why this image posted exactly a year and a day after the first provoked such a frenzy. After a year of lackluster imitations, this image finally matched the official PGP signature. Cicada was back, and it was time for round 2. The second puzzle was not too dissimilar from the first. The image, the message led to a book, the book produced a link, and gradually the emergence was uncovered.
Quite strange what the internet could offer. What will offer in the future.
Another clue led to a cryptic Twitter account, which then led to an image. The image proved vital to the progression of the puzzle, but the inclusion of this runic alphabet would remain a mystery for quite some time. Much like the first puzzle, the second swelled into the physical world when a list of
Yeah, big magnet.
compelled
Why?
I'm finding this in the driveway by Dad's. Stuff like this. If you could go out there in a little bit.
Do you want some?
No, we want you to do it. Because I gotta go weed eat the backyard.
Good luck.
This
What?
time it was 8 locations in 4 different countries. But eventually the trail went cold once again. Another select group of first arrivals had been accepted into a final private stage of the puzzle. Unlike the first puzzle, the second did not conclude with an official message from Cicada. The trail merely went cold, and Cicada vanished once more, leaving us no closer to an explanation. However, this was still not the end. At the beginning of 2014, it was time for round 3. Once again, the image enclosed a message, the message led to a book, the book produced a link, and suffice it to say, it was more of the same. Except this time, the puzzle seemed to revolve around a strange book. The book was titled Liber Primus, meaning first book in Latin, and was evidently written by Cicada. The runic alphabet uncovered in 2013 finally made sense, as the book was primarily written in runes. Even so, the meaning of the translated pages were cryptic at best. The book consisted of various philosophical and ideological ideas and appeared to be their manifesto. Many have since compared the strange writings to that of a cult. Nevertheless, the book also comprised a myriad of clues and codes. For example, this page advised participants to seek out a website on the deep web, but the site remains undiscovered. Another page led to a website containing yet another recording titled Interconnectedness.
Let's go over here and delete the command block. There you go.
Now you have a pack of balloons. Have like 80 extra balloons. Oh, it looks ridiculous. Look at this. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Somali pirate will break into your school if you join your class. They're not going to kidnap you or anything, but then you're going to have to sit next to a Somali man that hasn't showered in 37 days saying, I am the captain now under his breath. Anyways, guys, what's going on? It's your boy Scrub back, and in the new year 2020, like my vision, I'm seeing
Many came to
clear out
suspect
here,
the
and I'm
Liber
telling you
Primus
that
had to be
it's gonna
completed
a
if Cicada was
private
to
story
return.
that somebody sent
This
into
was
my
more or less
Instagram
confirmed at the
so,
beginning of
if you have any crazy
2016
stories of your
when
own you want to send
Cicada
in, send them into
encouraged
my
a
Instagram. Without further
re-examination
ado,
of the book.
let's get into this
More than
kid
4
appears
years have
claiming
now
to
gone
be
by
the
with
greatest
minimal
rapper
progress
of
and
all
near
time.
complete
So the
silence
person
from
who sent me
Cicada.
this works at
Questions
summer
raised
camp.
by
So I
the
guess like this
original
is the worst
image
job in the
have
world.
gone
Can I just get to
unfulfilled.
hang out and do
What
nothing
is the
else? What
purpose of
do you
these
think I'm gonna get
puzzles?
paid for?
Who's
So
behind them?
it's taking
What
me first,
happens
but
when you reach
here's
the
his
end?
own words here. Let me tell you why he's coming from. Not that it matters, okay? It doesn't matter, but You know, like when you walked on the pool deck this summer flood, it looked like a bunch of marshmallows were decided to lay on the deck and get
When
fried,
the
alright?
initial
This
image
person
appeared
sent
on
me this
4chan
is
back
from
in
North
2012,
Dakota, which
many assumed Cicada
typically is,
3301
you know, a very
to be an
rapper,
alternate
heavy
reality
area.
game
There's not 8
designed by a
top 10 songs
corporation
right
to
now
promote
being
a
like,
new
hey yo, I
service or
represent
product. For
Southside, North
example,
Dakota,
Microsoft
get some
developed
corn
an
and some
elaborate
snow, let's
ARG
get
back in
snowing.
2001 to
Regardless,
promote
this
the film
person
artificial
worked at
intelligence, and
you
a
know,
similar
some of the
viral
North
marketing
Dakota
campaign
were
was
mostly
used to promote the release of Halo 2.
Graham Dillon
But the release of
and, or,
subsequent
I don't know.
puzzles and the complete lack of commercialization has more or less eliminated that possibility. If we choose to believe some of the leaked information from the private end stage of each puzzle, then we do gain some insight into who this group might be. For example, at the end of the first puzzle, finalists supposedly received this email. In it, Cicada described themselves as an international group who believe that privacy is an inalienable right. The aim of each puzzle is to recruit like-minded individuals in an effort to develop privacy-conscious solutions. The email then concludes with 3 questions. The PGP signature, which would have confirmed the authenticity of the email, was conveniently removed by the leaker. If a version of a valid signature does exist online, I wasn't able to find it. But regardless of its legitimacy, I find this question a bit odd. It reads, do you believe that information should be free? Assuming the expected answer is yes, then the very first sentence, do not share this information, seems a bit hypocritical. While the idea of a secret society recruiting individuals by means of elaborate cryptographic puzzles may seem a bit absurd or even conspiratorial, it's not entirely unfounded. Corporations and governments alike have employed similar recruitment techniques since at least the Second World War. In 2013, the British intelligence agency GCHQ launched a recruitment program known as Can You Find It? Participants had to decrypt a number of cryptograms hidden across the internet, and those who managed to solve the entire puzzle were offered a prize or a position at the agency. Google did something similar with enigmatic billboards back in 2004, and the US Navy launched a near-identical project in 2014. Okay, but then what about the recruits? Why have we not heard from these chosen few? Well, we have. It's just that separating a legitimate finalist from an imposter is virtually impossible. In a 2015 interview with Rolling Stone, 2 alleged winners of the first puzzle chronicled the events beyond the final stage. After receiving an email from Cicada, they were taken to a forum on the dark web. Here they could communicate with 20-some-odd recruits, as well as a handful of established members of Cicada. They were told that Cicada 3301 had been founded by a group of friends who shared common ideals about security, privacy, and censorship. The goal was to work as a collective to develop software applications in line with that ideology. As friends recruited friends, this secret society quickly expanded into a decentralized international organization. The recruits were then tasked with developing software that fit the ideology of the group, and members of Cicada would oversee their progress. But without the allure of a puzzle to be solved, the recruits quickly lost interest. By the end of 2012, all but one had left, and a few months later, the site was gone. They never heard from Cicada again.
Back to the bathroom and is trying to stab the paperclip through his
One of
lip.
the 2 winners, named Marcus Wanner, later elaborated further in a video by YouTuber Nox Populi. Furthermore, Nox Populi himself claims to be a winner of the second puzzle, so I reached out to him, and this is some of what he had to say. After completing the final stages of the second puzzle, Nox Populi received an invitation to join Cicada 3301. However, he was not invited to a website, but was instead merely told to be patient. Then, around May of 2013, all communication with Cicada abruptly ceased. This was around the same time as when the website dedicated to the winners of the first puzzle was suddenly taken down. Nox Populi later contacted other winners of the second puzzle to compare notes, and their experiences were identical. In his own words, all the stories were the same. We were invited to join 3301, then something happened, and silence followed the request for patience.
Is it afternoon?
I suppose that roughly 5 others
Oh.
completed the second puzzle.
Almost, I think.
20-odd winners of the first.
Check out my
In
mansion
regards to who
so far.
or what Cicada is,
Hope
Nox
for you.
Populi believes they could be a remnant of the cypherpunk movement
You
of
like
the
the
late
Blue
80s
Lantern?
and 90s. Essentially a small group of widespread use
And
of
then I
strong
also
cryptography
I
and
also have a
privacy-enhancing
basement.
technologies,
Where
but
the
he
basement
admits that there is no way to know for
Yeah.
of the
And I
safe
know how to make a
harbor
fridge
movement
now.
of the late 80s and 90s. Essentially, a small group of activists advocating widespread use of strong cryptography and privacy-enhancing technologies, but he admits that there is no way to know for certain. If you want a far more comprehensive walkthrough of these puzzles as opposed to a brief overview, Nox Populi has produced a number of videos on his channel which I highly recommend. While these accounts cannot be verified, they do make for a very compelling argument as to what Cicada is. A group of anonymous developers seeking to develop privacy-conscious applications by recruiting talented individuals via cryptographic puzzles. Sure, it is not nearly as exciting as a shadow government seeking world domination or any of the more fantastical theories, but it is certainly more plausible. You have to keep in mind that no part of these puzzles would have required more than one person. The posters are often pointed to as evidence that this must be the work of some international organization, but I beg to differ. I mean, right now, I could use any number of services to hire
They
random
worked
persons
for
around
like
the globe to install posters
3
for me.
months and then they
Although,
just,
given that no
I don't
poster
know.
was located more than an hour away from an airport,
And
leads
I
me
have
to
my
believe
volume
that one
turned
or
all the way.
multiple persons actually traveled to these locations.
I have my volume
I mean, some of
that
the
to
posters
speak
were
turned
found
up
in
all the way.
walking
No,
distance of an international
still no one
airport.
can hear me.
The fact
And
is
those
that
things are really
anyone with a
powerful.
disposable income and enough time on their hands would be able to create the illusion of a vast secret network spanning the
What's
globe.
that mean?
Not saying that that is the case with
When
Cicada
was that?
3301, but it is nonetheless a possibility that cannot be discounted. With all of that being said, I personally
What's that?
think a loose-knit
I don't
group of
remember.
privacy-minded hobby cryptographers
Oh, that was when I
together
was
is a
4.
plausible explanation.
Because it said 6 years
Cicada
ago.
made their
That
last
was a long
public
time ago.
statement in April of 2017, merely
Can you say
warning
your
against
mom?
disinformation, but the current status
Okay, get some coffee and then
and the
come back in
possibility of
here.
fall remains clouded in mystery.
There's the Bermuda Triangle.
Just let me know.
I'm about to get on cross out here in a bit. Do you want
An
to
article was
play with
published
me?
in multiple American newspapers highlighting numerous unexplained disappearances between the coast of Florida and the island of Bermuda. The article details 5 separate incidents over the previous half-decade in which one boat,
I'll
9
be back.
planes, and some 135
Oh,
civilians and crewmen
I'll be back.
vanished without a trace. It was the first time this particular region of the ocean was suspected of being abnormally prone to nautical banishments. But as the author failed to provide a cause for this alleged abnormality, a provocative mystery was born. In 1952, a magazine specializing in the paranormal outlined the region of interest as a triangle between the U.S. state of Florida,
The Devil's
Puerto
Triangle.
Rico, and Bermuda. If this triangular shape seems almost arbitrarily selected, it's because it was. The author makes no attempt to justify their selection of this shape. Once this idea of an enigmatic triangle had been thrust upon the world, its eventual name was inevitable. A 1964 issue of the American pulp fiction magazine Argosy featured a cover with a caption, "Lost in the Bermuda Triangle." The article inside covers many of the same banishments as the previous 2, but with a severely embellished narrative, complete with fictitious quotes and alarming suppositions. Which is exactly what you'd expect from a magazine predominantly about fiction. Few would suppose a magazine with a sensational cover like this to supply them with a scientifically sound and comprehensively researched analysis. And why would you? Argosy was targeting a very specific crowd. Those who seek to be entertained by mysteries, not those who seek to understand them. The Bermuda Triangle is, and has always been, a mystery
Bermuda Triangle.
After all, the stories set to exemplify the mysterious qualities of the Bermuda Triangle is that of the first transatlantic voyage by Christopher Columbus in 1492. 3 events are said to be of note. The crew observed a fireball of some kind, their compasses inexplicably malfunctioned, and a strange light seemed to be suspended above the ocean surface. The fireball was more precisely described as a marvelous branch of fire that fell from the sky into the sea. While invoking aliens and UFOs would certainly be more exciting, there's really no need, as a meteor would be more than qualified to account for that description. In fact, shooting stars are the most common in September due to the orbit and tilt of the Earth, and this sighting occurred on September the 15th.
I love barbecuing. Watch me, baby.
Come on, Joe, you gotta swim. Who wants ice cream?
On September the 17th, the crew noticed their compasses misaligned with the North Star. This was certainly alarming at the time, but we've since learned that this is due to an effect known as magnetic declination. In short, the needle in the compass aligns with magnetic north, while the North Star aligns with true north. More importantly, however, neither of these 2 events
Polaris.
anywhere near the Bermuda Triangle, but in the middle
You there?
of the North Atlantic. A fact that many seem to conveniently disregard.
Gunner?
However, the strange light was indeed sighted within the confines of the triangle. Columbus described the light as a small wax candle that rose and lifted up, but he also...
Polaris. Anybody know the company Polaris? The 4-wheeler company? You wanna know why they have a star in the middle? Because the northern star is named Polaris. And people say that every century, the northern star, there'll be a new one, and the old shall fade away. So for those people who wondered, why is there a star for Polaris? That's why. It represents the northern star.
believed it to be an indication of land and never described it as inexplicable. In fact, mere hours after observing the light, a crewman first caught sight of the American continent, supporting Columbus's suspicion that the light emanated from a nearby landmass, perhaps a torch or bonfire by the indigenous population. As should be evident by now, this is all very mysterious, as long as you refrain from looking beneath the surface.
Just tell me something. What the hell is happening here?
It's flight number 19!
19 what?
It's that training mission from the Naval Air Station at Fort Lauderdale!
Who flies crates like these anymore?
No one! These planes were reported missing in 1945.
Flight 19, featured here in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, is possibly the most famous disappearance connected to the Bermuda Triangle. Some would argue it is the catalyst for the entire phenomenon. The story goes like this. On the 5th of December 1945, a squadron of 5 planes departed a naval air station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It was a routine navigation exercise that should not have posed a problem for these 14 experienced pilots and crewmen. Some 2 hours into the exercise, the squadron was supposed to be heading back when the pilot of the leading plane reported that he become disoriented as both his compasses were malfunctioning. Multiple stations maintained sporadic contact with Flight 19, attempting to determine their current location with little to no success. Communications between the 5 planes were also intercepted, and they could be heard arguing over directions and bearings. As the minutes passed, the signal between the towers and Flight 19 gradually weakened, and it became increasingly difficult to maintain a stable line of communication. Roughly 4 hours after takeoff, Navy personnel was able to approximate the flight's current location at some 200 kilometers north of their intended flight path. A flying boat with designation ST-49 was consequently dispatched to this location, but after a routine transmission, it inexplicably disappeared. 5 hours after takeoff, a final...
Bermuda's weird.
It was simply a failed attempt by one plane to contact another, and Flight 19 was never seen or
I'm back.
Ever wondered why there's a star for Polaris' symbol for ATVs? Because Polaris is the name of the northern star. For the I think every century or every 200 years, the star will disappear and a new one shall come in to take its place. And
I'm gonna play some cross out.
you know what? Why don't you try to get to my level? I'm like reputation level 11.
I'm at level 4 now.
Good.
I hate this here. When will it die? Wait, well, how is that song saying? I hate this here. When will it die? Dun, 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 dun.
Polaris, designated Rayce Minoris.
Minors.
The North Star, or Pole Star, is the brightest star in the constellation of Rayce Minor. It is very close to the North Celestial Pole, making it the current northern pole star.
Can you hear yourself in it?
Kind of.
Kind of.
The Bermuda Triangle. Hundreds of people, boats, ships have gone missing, disappeared, never heard from again.
I really wish I kind of wish this game was so realistic. It was exactly like the intro.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than a lot of other games.
What thing? Oh, that's from my old thing. What's it called? Tackle box.
In other words, he confused his actual position
Not from my old.
This may be hard to accept as Taylor was an experienced pilot, but then consider this. Taylor had previously been stationed as a flight instructor at the Naval Air Station in Miami, and training exercises launched from Miami took place off the Florida Keys. Prior to that, he'd been stationed at Key West in the Florida Keys. So it's entirely possible that Flight 19 was Taylor's first time flying this route over the Bahamas. Something that further supports this theory is that Taylor initially identified himself as MT-28, standing for Miami Torpedo Bomber 28. His correct ID was FT-28 for Fort Lauderdale. This growing confusion of what he knew from experience and what he saw outside his windows is likely why he came to distrust his instruments, as it's highly unlikely that both his compasses malfunctioned simultaneously. As Taylor thought he was in the Keys, he continued flying north in an attempt to reach land, but this had the opposite effect of taking them further out to sea. He was also disincentivized from turning west, as from Taylor's perspective, that would have taken them into the Gulf of Mexico. In reality, turning west would have saved their lives. Meanwhile, the weather was getting worse, the sun was setting, visibility was poor, and the sea grew increasingly violent. The logs reveal how truly desperate the situation became. At one point, Taylor informed his students, flying close formation, and when one plane drops to 10 gallons of gas, all planes will land together, suggesting that even in the event of a crash, they would remain as a group. He later continued, I suggest we fly due east until we run out of gas. We have a better chance of being picked up close to shore.
East?
At this point, they're flying away from the coast, out towards the open ocean. Some of the last discernible messages reads, have to land on water unless landfall. We may have to ditch any minute. Then there's the flying boat ST-49. ST-49 was initially scheduled for a night navigation exercise when, upon getting a fix on the location of Flight 19, it was diverted into a search and rescue mission. After a routine departure transmission, it was never heard from again. But it was likely seen again. 23 minutes after ST-49 took off, a ship reported seeing a plane catch fire and explode upon impact with the ocean. The resulting inferno continued for several minutes, with flames rising some 30 meters above the ocean surface. When the ship reached the location of the explosion, it found debris and a pool of oil, but no survivors. Yet another ship equipped with radar observed as a plane vanished from the screen. At the exact same time, the explosion was While an explosion is certainly surprising, given that pre-flight checks revealed nothing of note, the plane had went aground due to a malfunctioning engine the day before. What exactly went aground entails is not elaborated upon, but it did warrant inspection of the plane's hull. Some Navy personnel immediately assumed the reported explosion was linked to the missing SD-49. Despite a systematic and rigorous search involving tens of ships and hundreds of planes, nothing and no one was ever found. Though multiple planes and ships did report sightings of flares and various debris, all available evidence suggests that Flight 19 crashed into the ocean once they ran out of fuel, while ST-49 combusted and exploded, possibly due to a malfunctioning engine. The 6 planes and all 27 airmen aboard sank into the ocean, leaving no trace behind. But not every incident can be so thoroughly explained.
Bermuda's weird.
Calling all actors, calling all models. If you don't know the real casting process and how you can break the mold.
On the 17th of January 1949, a plane known as the Star Ariel departed Bermuda for Kingston, Jamaica. An hour into the flight, the pilot made a routine transmission with no indication of alarm, but the plane was never seen or heard from again. There was no evidence of a crash and no distress call had been received. The weather was excellent for the entire duration of the flight. The pilot and his crew was highly experienced and had flown this specific route many times before, and the plane was in working condition prior to departure. A succeeding investigation failed to determine a probable cause due to lack of evidence. But what makes this even more mysterious is that a sister plane known as the Star Tiger had vanished under similar circumstances the year before. On January the 30th, 1948, the Star Tiger disappeared while approaching Bermuda from the east. The pilot and the rest of the crew were highly experienced, but the weather was not ideal with strong winds and heavy rain. The strong winds had blown the plane off course just an hour before their last transmission, and they were never seen or heard from again. The succeeding investigation concluded, in closing this report, it may truly be said that no more baffling problem has ever been presented for investigation. What happened in this case will never be known, and the fate of Star Tiger must remain an unsolved mystery. But even in information deprived, natural explanations do exist. For example, the accident report of the Star Tiger revealed that the plane had been poorly maintained and known defects remained unrectified. Subsequent investigations also found that this particular type of airplane had a heater in the cabin that was prone to malfunction, and due to poor design, there was a chance of combustion and explosion. 2 pilots experienced with this type of aircraft believed this was a real possibility, and one of them stated, "My theory is that hydraulic vapor escaped from a leak which got onto a hot heater and caused an explosion." Perhaps one of the most mysterious incidents is that of the 5-masted sailing vessel Carol A. Deering. On January the 9th, 1921, the Deering departed the island of Barbados and set sail for Norfolk, Virginia. Less than 3 weeks later, the ship was sighted by a lightship near the coast of North Carolina, and the lightship's engineer took this photograph as she passed by. The person at the helm of the Deering hailed the lightship and used a megaphone to inform them that they had lost both their anchors. The ship then progressed up the coast towards Norfolk, but she never arrived. 2 days after the sighting by the lightship keepers, the Deering was located by the Coast Guard. The ship had run aground in an area known as the Diamond Shoals and appeared to have been abandoned. This was confirmed once the ship was boarded a few days later, and the ship's log, the crew's personal belongings, key navigational equipment, various documents, 2 lifeboats, as well as the ship's 2 tankers, were found to be missing. Furthermore, the steering wheel and other equipment also appeared to have been intentionally destroyed with a sledgehammer. There was no sign of the 11 crewmen, and they had never been seen or heard from.
Raid?
A few months later, a man named Christopher Columbus Gray discovered a message in a bottle not far from the wreckage, and it reads as follows. Deering captured by oil-burning ship, something like a chaser, taking off everything, handcuffing crew, crew hiding all over ship, no chance of escape. Finder, please notify headquarters of Deering. The message was perceived to be genuine, and thus it was presumed that the crew of the Carol A. Deering had fallen victim to piracy. But then, a few months after that, handwriting experts proved that Gray himself had written the message and that the entire thing was a hoax. But Gray may not have been too far off, as there is evidence to suggest that a mutiny took place. The US State Department issued a statement at the time in which they wrote, "There is every suspicion of foul play." First of all, the person who hailed the lightship was not the captain. He was described by the lightship keeper as a red-headed man with a Scandinavian accent. So, me without a soul. While this description could not have been that of the captain, it was descriptive of the other crewmen, most of which were Danes, which of course only strengthens the possibility of mutiny. Secondly, later investigations found that the relationship between the captain and the crew was strenuous at best. Prior to departing Barbados, both the captain and the first mate spoke ill of each other, and the captain was concerned that the crew might turn on him. The first mate had also requested a ship of his own, and when this request was denied, he boasted that he would get the captain before they reached their destination. The first mate was subsequently arrested because of this, but was later bailed out by the captain himself, who forgave him for what he said. So, there's plenty of evidence to suspect a mutiny. Nevertheless, this cannot fully explain why the ship was subsequently abandoned, or why the crew disappeared so completely. But it gets even stranger. Soon after the Deering had passed the lightship, yet another vessel appeared. It was a large steamship painted black, roughly sailing in the wake of the Deering. When the lightship hailed the vessel, not only was the hail ignored, but the crewmen unfurled a canvas to Some have speculated that this could have been the American steamship SS Hewitt that vanished around the same time, but unless further evidence can be unraveled, there is no way to know. So, perhaps Gray was unintentionally correct. Perhaps the mysterious vessel was indeed a pirate ship chasing down the Deering. Or perhaps the crew conspired to commit mutiny. In either case, numerous elements are, at best, difficult to explain. To conclude this video, I'd like to talk about the triangle itself. If the Bermuda Triangle was anything but a legend, why is it not marked on publicly available maps and nautical charts? If the US Coast Guard is so concerned with the safety of others, don't you think they have a responsibility to warn the populace about this abnormally dangerous region of the ocean? Yet they and every other relevant authority willfully allow hundreds of ships and planes to sail and fly through the region every single day without as much as a warning. If we need a sign for wet floors, a sign for imminent death by supernatural forces, seems justifiable. After all, the region that is the Bermuda Triangle is a highly trafficked region of the ocean. Now, one could argue that more traffic equals more accidents, thus more vanishments, but that would almost make a bit too much sense. One of the articles I showcased at the beginning of the video concludes with this open-ended question. Will somebody please come up with an explanation or even suggestion as to just where all these planes, ships, and possibly submarines did go? I'm gonna take a wide stab at this and say the ocean. The ships and planes and possibly submarines sank into the depths of the ocean. No, they sink. I don't know what to tell you, but the catastrophe and buoyancy are just not the best of friends. Besides, do you really want to listen to a clown in a sewer drain over the physical loss of reality itself?
Oh, yes. Very slow. Very slow.
Okay, maybe I'm overtly facetious at this point, but the absurdity of this phenomenon is also what makes it so fascinating to me. Despite my best efforts, I've been totally unsuccessful in my attempts to understand what exactly constitutes as a Bermuda Triangle disappearance. How does one know when to attribute a missing craft to the Bermuda Triangle? It sounds like, and it truly should be an easy question to answer, but it is anything but. In some cases, such as in the case of Flight 19, the incident occurred within the general confines of the triangle, but Flight 19 is an exception. Most vanishments occur when the route of a plane or ship simply overlapped the triangle. In 1963, a ship known as the SS Marine Sulphur Queen departed a harbor in Beaumont, Texas, heading for Norfolk, Virginia. Her last known location was here, but then she just vanished, as if sinking into some inexplicable abyss. Her disappearance is blamed on the powers of the triangle, despite the fact that the ship is just as likely to have disappeared in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, the Coast Guard believes she disappeared just before reaching the Florida Keys, but what do they know? In 1954, a plane disappeared while traveling between the US states of Maryland and the Azores. It is said to be a victim of the Bermuda Triangle despite being outside its boundaries. It's even more embarrassing in the case of the aforementioned Carol A. Deering, as she safely traversed the entire Bermuda Triangle, only to go all hocus pocus once she had cleared it. Proponents will often justify these inclusions by invoking arguments of adjacent regions. In other words, disappearances in close proximity to the triangle should be considered part of the triangle. Okay, but how far do these adjacent regions extend? Is the Gulf of Mexico an adjacent region? The Caribbean Sea? The coast of Brazil? The coast of Nova Scotia? The entire North Atlantic, perhaps? If that's the case, why even bother with a triangle to begin with? I've compiled a list of some 40 disappearances said to be connected to the Bermuda Triangle, and if they are all to be included, I think we need a bigger triangle. If anything, the true mystery behind the Bermuda Triangle is why people so adamantly insist upon it being mysterious. As far as I can tell, there is nothing uniquely conspicuous about this location as compared to the rest of the ocean. Ships and planes vanishing without a trace is unfortunately quite common and certainly not limited to a corner of the North Atlantic Ocean. The amount of vanishments in a given area is largely dependent on factors such as the amount of traffic, the frequency of adverse meteorological phenomena, and the presence of powerful oceanic currents. The Bermuda Triangle ticks all three boxes. There's a ton of traffic, it is frequently invaded by hurricanes and storms, and it is intersected by the Gulf Stream. But I have to say the most crucial flaw of this alleged enigma is the variation. The fundamental aspect of the Bermuda Triangle is that these incidents can somehow be correlated, yet each disappearance could not be more different. Some vanishments occur during a storm, some when the sky is clear, some when the sea is turbulent, some when the sea is calm, some during the day, some during the night. Probable causes include mechanical failure, explosions, human error, sabotage, fuel starvation, inexperience, piracy, mutiny, etc. Some ships and planes are brand new, some are many decades old, some are extremely large, some are tiny. Bodies, debris, and wreckage can at times be recovered, other times it cannot. A distress signal is sometimes transceived, sometimes it is not. It involves every type of vessel and every type of aircraft. They can be traveling at any speed, in any direction, at any altitude, with any number of passengers for any amount of time, for any reason. Whatever this mysterious force is, it is certainly not selective about what, when, or how it strikes.
Dude, my car is so indestructible, basically, on the tires. What, like when it's like duplicating itself over and over again.
Roanoke, lost colony of Roanoke, Illinois. The Battle of Los Angeles.
In the early hours of February the 25th, 1942, major cities along the Pacific coast of the United States were blacked out due to concerns of an incoming enemy attack. As powerful
They do that way they can't spot people at night.
the streets of Los Angeles fell silent. broken by the deafening sound of explosions. The army had opened fire, and the city was under attack. The blackout persisted until dawn, and the troubled masses now demanded an explanation. But no one seemed to know exactly what had transpired. Nothing but
PSN.
shrapnel had fallen from the sky, and witness accounts were hopelessly at variance. As the war raged on across the Pacific, this frantic episode soon faded from public consciousness. Years later, the story resurfaced under the banner of conspiracy. The true nature of the affair had supposedly been covered up by the government, and the Battle of Los Angeles has since become a staple of USA mythology.
Doing all this shit is insane.
Boof.
On the morning of December the 7th, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy launched a surprise attack on the American
Let me guess, kamikazes?
harbor. The devastating attack sent
Or
shockwaves throughout
Pearl
the
Harbor.
country, and in response, the United States formally declared war on Japan the following day.
A state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
As the war progressed, Japanese submarines patrolled the Pacific coast and occasionally sunk a ship within sight of a major coastal city. Alerts and blackouts became routine as fear of a Japanese invasion quickly enveloped the entire western seaboard. Less than 3 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Japan attacked the U.S. mainland. As the sun was setting on February the 23rd, 1942, a Japanese submarine surfaced a few kilometers northwest of Santa Barbara.
In Kakarot
After taking aim
455.
at Elwood oil field, gunners manned the large deck cannon and opened fire. The shelling lasted for 20 minutes, and more than a dozen exploding shells came raining down on the domes and nearby installations. Although the damage was minimal and without casualties, the attack had a significant impact on public fears, and the threat of a Japanese invasion now seemed imminent.
Well, if you're Christian, there's no school fight very soon.
Since when did we start advertising mobile
Can you
games?
invite me to party?
Why do you want me to? I'm playing by myself right now.
The military maintained a state of readiness that lasted well into the following day. On the evening of February the 24th, naval intelligence issued a warning that an attack could be expected within the next 10 hours. As such, the Southern California coast was put on yellow alert. After 3 hours, the situation somewhat relaxed when the alert.
I would like to play with you.
On this world, I barely let anybody join. Maybe later.
3 separate radar stations picked up an unidentified flying object approaching the city of Los Angeles. By 2 a.m., the target was roughly 200 kilometers offshore, and a few minutes later, anti-aircraft batteries were put on green alert, and gunners prepared for the city to be raided. Some 25 minutes later, the UFO had been tracked within 5 kilometers of the city,
Hey.
so the alarm was sounded, and Los Angeles was blacked out. Even though the UFO soon vanished from the radar scopes.
Okay, please don't be upset because, or mad because I said no.
At 3:07, the artillery units were given the order to open fire, and from this point onwards, the skies above Los Angeles erupted like a volcano.
WTF.
Sporadic, as a great variety of targets were sighted all over the city.
Oh
From
no.
a lone enemy fighter to an entire fleet of up to 200 high-altitude bombers. Meanwhile, equally competent witnesses failed to see anything at all. Diverging estimations of altitude and speed confused the situation further. Some thought the planes resembled birds, while others insisted they had seen balloons or even a blimp.
Unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a plane, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
Fuck you.
Army officials declined to comment on the possibility.
Oh, dude, what? I just said later. What did I ever do? I never did anything. Stop attacking and harassing me. If you're gonna swear, I'm gonna have to mute you because I don't allow that on my channel. No one. As I said previously in my as I've said in my previous streams. No. Then I need you to apologize for saying such harsh words on my channel.
Okay.
You cooking lunch?
It's cooking. We started. Grandma's doing your potatoes right
Thanks.
now. I'll do your hamburgers in a few minutes.
Oh my god. Ugh. Wait, we need to go one lower. God. That was strange. Wait, I just forgot something.
KLM.
What's that mean? I don't know what it means.
Hey, are you done? Are you done?
I can do it right now. I'll be back.
Hey.
I'll be back.
Huh, commotion.
KLM airline.
Get down, stupid. Blinds. I threw a controller at it and broke my blinds. So they have a little bit of a problem of shining a glare in the background. If you don't see that glare right there, it's peeking through and it really disorients the view of my streams, and it's kind of really stupid.
BBB.
And please don't. Please don't spam.
Although the blackout persisted until dawn, the barrage itself concluded shortly after 4 a.m., by which time more than 1,400 rounds of anti-aircraft artillery had been expended.
Oh my god! 1,400 rounds.
Initial reports indicated that multiple enemy planes had been shot down across southwestern Los Angeles. A police officer had allegedly seen 2 planes fall from the cone of the searchlights. However, investigations by the local police found nothing but shrapnel, and the Western Defense Command announced that no bombs had been dropped and no planes had been shot down. The confusion was only compounded by the lack of agreement between military officials. The Secretary of Navy, Franklin Knox, speaking at a press conference in Washington, claimed the incident had been a false alarm and that no planes had been present, further adding that the barrage had been provoked by nothing more than nervousness and overexcitement. Meanwhile, the Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, assessed that up to 15 unidentified planes had in fact flown over the city. Given the lack of an actual strike, the planes were thought to have been part of a Japanese reconnaissance mission, or perhaps a group of commercial planes flown by enemy agents. Chaos. While the military insisted that every effort was being made to ascertain the facts, this was as close to an explanation as the American people were going to get. It might have been something, it may have been nothing. No one seemed to know, and speculation abounded.
Is that the 20? Do I hear TC-29 too? I hear TC-29. Yep, there it is. Thanks, Grandpa. There you go, Grandpa. Mow my unfinished part. Mow the unfinished part of my grass, which is only about, I don't know, less than 100 cubic feet, maybe.
As the war came to a close in late 1945, this all but forgotten mystery was suddenly dragged back into the spotlight. Declassified documents revealed the Army had conducted an investigation shortly after the blackout had been lifted, and testimonies provided by military personnel and civilians alike had disclosed a number of interesting details. For instance, the barrage had supposedly commenced after a red flare attached to a balloon was spotted above Santa Monica. A number of batteries had then opened fire upon an assortment of aloft vessels, including balloons, airships, and airplanes. One unit even reported setting a plane on fire soon after the barrage commenced, and some had both seen and heard the plane soaring through the clear night sky. Conflicting accounts notwithstanding, a conclusion written on March the 22nd reads as follows. It has been definitively ascertained that the blackout and anti-aircraft firing were caused by the presence of from 1 to 5 unidentified airplanes. While it is possible that these airplanes were launched from Japanese submarines, it is more likely that they were civilian or commercial planes operated by unauthorized pilots. Japanese involvement was subsequently ruled out, as Japan had not sent any planes near Los Angeles that night, and so any planes observed must have originated from the Americas. But that seemed unlikely, given that a thorough search withheld from the FBI had turned up nothing. As such, the Battle of Los Angeles was once again ripe for speculation, and by 1948, another theory had gained support.
This is a game I don't want.
In 1948, a former Army Air Force major and college professor by the name of William Goss extensively researched the incident on behalf of the U.S. Air Force. Goss was given full access to all relevant military records, and he came to the conclusion that weather balloons had been responsible. And there is a lot of evidence to support that theory. As previously mentioned, the barrage had supposedly been provoked by a balloon carrying a red flare. At least 3 officers testified that they had identified a target as a weather balloon, and one of them chose not to fire after learning that the weather balloon had indeed been released by one of the regiments. His testimony was corroborated by a general who claims that 2 meteorological balloons had been released near Hollywood that night. Furthermore, a balloon may account for the slow movement. According to some, the UFO required nearly 30 minutes to cover a distance of some 40 kilometers.
Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blip. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane.
In fact, artillery units were criticized by the investigation for failing to take the slow rate of travel into consideration. On the other hand, the balloon theory does raise a few valid questions. For one thing, why did the Army open fire on a harmless balloon? Well, explanation comes from a former Army colonel by the name of John Murphy, who participated in the investigation. In 1949, Murphy wrote an article in which he claims that when the regional controller in San Francisco received word of a balloon over Los Angeles, he misconstrued its description as that of a large enemy Zeppelin. As such, he gave the order to open fire despite having no authorization to do so. This is somewhat supported by the Army investigation, which states that responsibility for opening fire should rest with the anti-aircraft commander, not the controller. However, there is one major point of contention that persists to this day. How is it that some 1,400 rounds of anti-aircraft ammunition failed to bring down a mere balloon? The lack of a satisfying answer to this question, along with the relative ambiguity of many others, seems to have given conspiracy theorists just enough wiggle room to suggest that something extraordinary must have occurred. It gets even stranger when you realize that an LA Times correspondent by the name of Bill Henry claimed the UFO had withstood direct hits by the anti-aircraft shells. Although further down in the same column, Henry writes the UFO looked like a batch of balloons floating in the wind. Then there's this photograph. It was published by the Los Angeles Times the morning after, and it has attracted a lot of controversy after it was found to have been retouched prior to publication. This is the image initially published on February the 26th, while this is the unpublished original. To complicate matters, yet another version was then published in 1945. In this version, the image has been flipped, and these explosions have been enlarged. It may seem a bit strange, but photographic retouching was a quite common practice at the time. Nevertheless, in the original photograph, the light beam appears to converge upon something in the sky, but what that something is cannot be discerned. It could be a plane, a weather balloon, a cloud of smoke, or perhaps a spaceship from beyond the Earth. It's impossible to say. Other photographs taken that night are equally devoid of clarity, although it should be noted that none of them depict a UFO of any kind. In any case, a balloon withstanding scores of anti-aircraft ordnance seems highly improbable. Unless, of course, it didn't. I mean, are we absolutely certain the two balloons released that night actually remained aloft? Well, according to the aforementioned Colonel John Murphy, they did. In 1949, he wrote, "Both balloons, as I remember, floated away majestically and safely." But in complete contradiction to that statement, an unnamed air raid warden claims the firing was concentrated on a big bag that looked something like a balloon. The bag had then been torn to shreds by the gunfire and slowly fallen towards the ground. But there is an even simpler explanation. While the type of weather balloon is never made clear, it is relatively safe to assume the balloon ascended into the sky because, well, that's what balloons tend to do. And the added difficulty of trying to hit a target that's moving both horizontally and vertically may explain why the balloons survived for as long as they did. If we take these factors into account, then events may have unfolded like this. A weather balloon is first released around 1 a.m. Reports of a balloon are then mistaken for a Zeppelin, and the barrage commenced shortly after 3 a.m. The balloon is then obliterated by exploding shells or escaped by means of ascension. In the midst of all this chaos, a second balloon is released, and the whole thing starts all over again. Meanwhile, smoke produced by more than 1,000 explosions now create the illusion of any number of targets. That last part is based on a testimony by the acting commander, in which he states that he was initially certain he'd seen a squadron of planes, only to realize he was deceived by drifting smoke produced by the exploding shells. I've actually covered this case before, over 4 years ago, and back then I was firmly in the camp of this cannot be explained. What's more is that because this was during World War II, right after Pearl Harbor had been attacked, the military quickly pointed spotlights at the Arctic thinking it might be another attack. Soon after, they began firing and even sent out fighter planes to attack and destroy the UFO.
Dear San Francisco.
Dear San Francisco,
What is this?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Proud father of 3.
I'm a grandma. I'm a woman.
I'm a certified pistol instructor to teach these young men how to be safe.
Yes.
And I'm a father of 3 girls. I'm a patriot.
I am a college student. I am studying to be a nurse and one day may save your lives. I also work in healthcare, save lives on a regular basis. I'm an army mom.
And a gunsmith. I'm a cattle rancher, a U.S. Air Force veteran. We're not weak. I'm a husband, a father, a shooter, and a wine connoisseur. I serve my...
But much like the channel name I used back then, my claim that American planes had pursued the UFO was a mistake. While an anonymous source initially...
This guy's got good editing.
Jumping up in the sky and doing all kinds of kind of tricks, and it was too fast for an airplane. It wasn't a helicopter, and it wasn't anything that we had ever seen.
I've never paid much attention to UFO sightings. I've read about the occasional incident, but my curiosity has never really expanded beyond those few cases. I just find that far too often the focus of UFO stories is on the mystery itself, as opposed to the resolution of that mystery. Plausible explanations take a backseat to fantastical embellishments. There's a documentary on Netflix right now, and I'm using the term documentary very loosely, about a man who claims to be harassed and pursued by aliens. In one scene, he literally has someone bob one of those alien masks you get for Halloween outside a window, and it is played completely straight. A close encounter of the third kind, when it looks like a close encounter of the trick-or-treat kind. Nevertheless, this documentary did pique my interest, and so I began to learn more about the UFO phenomenon, immersing myself in this expansive mythos of which I only had a very limited understanding. From the very start, I was taken down this convoluted path of alien abductions, government conspiracies, and alien experiments that read like rejected drafts of the X-Files. But every now and again, I came across something a bit more credible. Stories that were genuinely difficult to rationalize. Nothing that would convince me the Earth is a galactic resort, but mystifying stories all the same. To get you on the same page as me, we need to go back to the year 1947. In the summer of 1947, youth and government agencies across North America were flooded with reports of strange objects in the sky. This UFO mania was provoked by a pilot named Kenneth Arnold. On June the 24th, Arnold was flying over the Cascade Mountains in the state of Washington when he observed a formation of 9 saucer-like objects zooming across the sky. Unbeknownst to Arnold, this innocent description would come to popularize the term flying saucer. The scintillating discoids appear to be traveling at a speed of some 2,000 kilometers per hour, a speed yet to be achieved by any man-made airplane in 1947. Arnold initially suspected he'd observed some secret military test flight, but the US Air Force quickly denied responsibility and merely dismissed the sighting as some form of optical illusion. But it wasn't quite that simple. Not only was Arnold an experienced pilot, but his story was corroborated by a number of witnesses on the ground who all described a series of oval-shaped objects traveling at a tremendous rate of speed. Furthermore, other sightings had been reported days before and would continue for many days after, more than 800 cases in less than a month, including the famous Roswell incident. Publicly, the US Air Force dismissed the sightings as nothing more than a combination of overactive imaginations and misperceptions of natural phenomena, but internally, the Air Force was just as mystified as the public, and actually quite concerned. Hundreds of unrelated persons from all walks of life, including high-ranking military officials, scientists, engineers, politicians, and 1947, the Air Force covertly launched a preliminary investigation into the sightings, as they suspected that some UFOs could be vessels of foreign or celestial origin. By late September, the existence of advanced aeronautic vehicles could not be eliminated. While the majority of cases could be ascribed to natural phenomena, the maneuverability and evasive behavior displayed by some UFOs defied all conventional explanation. It was speculated that these seemingly mechanical UFOs could be part of some top-secret military project, either foreign or domestic. It was feared that the Soviet Union had seized the German technology after World War II and developed some advanced aircraft capable of covert infiltration of U.S. airspace. This led to the formation of Project Sign, a classified investigation that would attempt to determine whether or not UFOs posed a threat to national security. While the project members entertained a number of possible causes, by the summer of 1948, a minority of credible and well-documented UFO cases could not be resolved. These cases became known as the unknowns. By process of elimination, Project Sign therefore concluded that the most probable explanation for the most inexplicable of cases was the extraterrestrial hypothesis. In other words, the unknowns did not appear to be on this Earth. However, once this report reached the Pentagon, it was rejected. The interplanetary explanation was thought to be unsubstantiated, and so the report was ultimately scrapped. Project Sign was dissolved soon thereafter, and subsequent investigations ultimately failed to ascertain the nature of these unknowns. Project Sign's successor, Project Blue Book, merely concluded that it was statistically improbable that UFOs represented technological capabilities beyond our own. As the vast majority of UFO sightings are misperceptions of natural phenomena, the presumption was that all UFO sightings are likely to be misperceptions. As such, funding for UFO research could no longer be justified, as the threat to national security was evidently non-existent. Government-sanctioned UFO research officially ended with the dissolution of Project Blue Book in 1969, and the Air Force has since proclaimed the issue resolved. Out of the 12,618 UFO reports in its collection, 701 were marked unknown upon its conclusion, although some would argue that many cases were mischaracterized and that more than 1,700 cases should be regarded as unknowns. While the U.S. government may dismiss these unknowns as mere statistical anomalies, the fundamental question remains, what did people see? What kind of natural
Hi.
Hey boy.
resolution despite decades
Whatever. Is there anything wrong with it? Sorry to say, but your claim is false, as there is no evidence to back such a claim up. For those people that say that, oh, he's gay, blah, 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 no, there's nothing wrong. I don't care if, I don't mind. If it makes you happy, if you're gay, then there you go. That's cool. All that matters is I want you to be happy, unless you're my worst enemy, in which I want you to suffer. I hope you get your butt kicked by a homosexual dude. And I hope you cry.
Hey, remember me?
No, I don't. Thanks. Ignore that one person from earlier. He is simply dumb.
Terraria.
Bro, Terraria, cool wolf. I think I do remember you, actually. Bro, Terraria, what do you mean, Terraria? I'm taking a break from the series. Hopefully I won't let it die. Why did I make this house like the best house of all the others?
I think it was your mom that came in and told you some like what?
I don't remember that. She never asked me that because I drink like 3 things: Pepsi, Gatorade, and Coke. Be right back. "18 minutes on the clock." I like watching videos with mysteries in them.
Late in the afternoon on May the 24th, 1949, 6 civilians were on a fishing trip on the Rogue River in the state of Oregon. Suddenly, one of them observed a round and scintillating object in the sky. It barely moved as it silently hovered some 1,500 meters above. It was difficult to discern any details with the naked eye, but fortunately, one of them had brought a pair of binoculars with 8 times magnification. The binoculars revealed a clearly distinguishable metallic craft of unfamiliar design. It was round and flat, about 10 meters in diameter, and had a rounded fin on the roof. It had a reflective, silver-colored surface that appeared to be somewhat dirty. It lacked any conventional means of propulsion and made absolutely no sound. After some 2 minutes of observation, the UFO gradually moved in the opposite direction of the wind until it disappeared with the speed of a jet plane. Besides the corroborating accounts and detailed sketches, what makes this case so interesting is that 2 of the civilian observers were also employed at an aeronautical research facility, so they had ample knowledge of aeronautics. Furthermore, the story never reached the public. This is important because if this was a hoax, one would expect the hoaxers to seek media attention, yet the witnesses refrained from speaking to the press. The story never reached the public eye until many years later when ufologists uncovered the case files, which revealed that Project Blue Book had rather dismissively concluded it must have been a misidentified airplane or weather balloon. So all we need now is a plane shaped like a pancake or a self-propelled balloon unaffected by wind.
Items on display include the latest in meteorological devices. The weather balloon is equipped with a radiosonde which permits measurement of atmospheric temperature, humidity, and pressure at various altitudes.
If you spend some time reading about UFOs, you will soon come across an explanation that is repeated time and time again. Weather balloons. The Battle of Los Angeles, balloon. The Roswell incident, top secret balloon. The Mantell incident, once again, a balloon. Unfortunately for proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis, it is often a rather convincing explanation. However, it is far less convincing when the witnesses of a UFO are themselves launching a balloon. On April the 24th, 1949, a group of 5 balloonists had just launched a weather balloon in the New Mexico desert and were tracking said balloon with a special telescope. Suddenly,
Rayce,
the person operating the telescope
Hey.
sighted another object in the sky and alerted the rest of the
Well, guess what I have to do?
UFO with
What?
the naked eye. It had an
Do the dishes for the 4th time this week.
Hey, it's not as bad as scooping horse manure.
Now that sounds better.
I can do it all day and I won't complain. Well, I'll complain from being tired, but not from the smell.
I know what you mean. But it's super annoying when you have to do dishes.
I mean, dishes are not that bad.
They eat. Yeah, but it takes forever for me to put them away.
Are you doing it right now with your headphones on?
What?
Are you doing it now with your headphones on or something?
Yeah. Darn it! I hate when I can't figure out where to put the stuff. So then I get mad. Is there any more viewers on your stream?
Yeah.
There is.
Nope. Not one inside. Hydro Clan.
It was about 30 meters in diameter.
The Hydro Clan. Sounds like a tryhard clan. They're like, hi, and then bye, gay boy, and like, bruh, is there anything wrong with it? Why don't you go frick yourself? Where is it? Wait, is this it? Bruh, I think I found him. I found them. You want? That's it. They have 9 subs, bruh. They literally have 9 subs, and they joined like 2 years ago.
What? Only 9 subs?
Yep, 9 subs, and they're like, "Bye, gay boy," and then guess what?
No, you're getting nasty with me.
I'm
Like, who are you talking to?
Well, you kept saying stuff, and I'm like, what? You're not responding to what I expect. So I'm like, who are you talking to?
No, just sharing. How old? Rayce.
Right?
How have you ever thought about how old Jim Carrey was? If you know
No.
who Jim Carrey is.
I don't know who it is.
Oh, you go and ask your mom to see if she knows about Jim Carrey. He makes super funny movies, especially with Will. If he made it with Will Ferrell.
This is him.
Oh,
He
no.
literally has 9
What?
subs. He
My
literally
second
has
brother,
9 subscribers.
Wait, what's the channel?
The Hydro Clan. And it's basically, it matches the symbol. Yep, and it's spelt with the same caps. What a frick. Report. Report user. Harassment. There you go. Called me king.
I'm so short, I can't even reach the 3rd shelf on top. And that's the tallest shelf. I bet your viewer is thinking about, like, just a little very first shelf it looks like he has hardly any feet, but really, they're so small that you can't even see them. So then he just falls over every time he stands up. That's what sucks. Having no other part of your leg. By the way, we're having a party today.
And there we go, reported that kid. Stupid kid. Don't go in my freaking stream saying, oh, bye, gay boy, like, bruh. Don't even make false claims about me. I don't like it, and it's rude. And if you do, you're getting basically muted, and I don't give a crap. Period.
I can send it no more in there. Either that kid was gay, or he was just making you mad. There's a kid that was being mean on Rayce's stream.
that you told me about before?
No.
Don't be a hypocrite.
Don't be a hypocrite. Grandpa's here? Noel's? Who's Noel again?
Well, there's two of them.
Braxton's Noel and someone else.
Oh, well, there's three of them then.
What's on my foot? Why would somebody say that to you?
I don't know. They're just hoes, I guess.
Yep.
People are trying to make me ticked. Whatever, dude.
Yeah, just try
Freaking
not to
adopted
get mad.
orphan.
No, that
Like,
was funny.
the funniest joke to me is their life. Because if I hear it, I want popcorn. I want a bowl of
It's gonna be a
popcorn.
long story.
And it's gonna be a long,
You don't
beautiful
need
story.
popcorn. It's gonna be such a short story for them.
Short.
Short. Like short date. I'm gonna go out and play drums right after this. I don't know where to put this crap. I don't know where to put that crap. Ah, water got all over me. I just. One bit of
People
water on top
spam.
of your.
No spamming.
I do just love it when there's like a thing of water, little bit of water on top of the dishes. Then you pick it up and then it just spills all over you.
Oh my god, I hate that crap. I've done it so many times.
So have I. But every time, no matter what, there's never been a thing.
Can you like not troll like that? Do people always try to like, I don't know, keep on spamming useless crap and then annoying me? It's really stupid. It's like, here's what this dude says. He's like, oh, I am so sorry. I'm not gonna dump work for you. Blah blah blah. I don't even want to freaking speak it out loud. It is disgusting. I cannot even read it. It's annoying. People just spam me with these stupid riddle spams. And it annoys me, and I tell people to stop, and they don't do it. So for that, I advise from continuing it, or else further consequences will apply.
Oh my gosh, like always. There's always like, you don't want your dishwasher to get that wet on the inside, but you have to, and it's usually dry in there.
I'm not trying to harass you, Gunner, but it's like your house is so tiny, you can go anywhere with it with your headphones, and you can be able to hear. I can hear you.
Yeah, exactly. You're not harassing me.
Your house is too tiny. It needs a basement.
That's what my mom was saying. She's been saying that for 2 years, and we still haven't had a basement.
Yeah, a basement. Because, you know, tornadoes. Heck, you're almost safer in the freaking giant ravine by your house.
Right where that old tree was?
Concerns.
I would like it right where that other tree was.
It's like, bruh, at least get a cargo crate and then bury it underground.
Yeah, that would be better. Way better.
Actually, just go find a giant shipping container and bury it.
Bury a giant shipping container. Hey, I'll be back in a bit.
Sure.
I might be able to No, I can't take you out with me. But I'll be back in a bit.
Oh, and this goes to 358, right? Yes, yes.
I'll be back.
This goes to 358. Okay. Can't wait for my lunch. You know what, guys? I might actually buy Raft. It's a new game. Well, not really too new, but it looks like it's gonna be a fun game. I can't wait to embark on such a lightning adventure. I am making sure that you can hear that spam. Be right back. Hi, buddy. Do you want to get on stream? Boo Bear. I'm probably gonna go. Bye, folks.